You know, it's the best part of recording a podcast when you're barely awake.
What's that?
No, it's asking.
Oh, no, I can't
know.
figure anything.
I don't see any benefits whatsoever.
No. I've got my coffee here, kombucha right next to it. Gonna send somebody for a water bottle in a minute. The
There you
PA.
go. Exactly. But we're doing it, baby.
Yeah.
Hey,
We're doing it.
yeah. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Nugatory Conversations, episode 4. If you've made it this far and have listened to all the other episodes, which equates to nearly 7 hours of us pontificating about bullshit, thank you. And also, wow, is your time meaningless if you're going to sit through all that? But no, sincerely, it means a lot to us. So thanks for sticking with us. This has been super fun. I just used the bathroom, and I want to bring something up. So your bathroom,
Yes.
or Tyler's bathroom, technically,
Yes.
right, has the most watery soap I have ever used.
Yeah.
I assume
I'm aware.
it is.
I'm aware.
Like, that had to be, so it's like the soft soap bottle. And that's the thing people will do. Will like fill up the soap with some water to stretch it out and make it last longer. But it's like this soap had to have been at the very, very bottom. And then like, well, I'm going to fill it all the way to the top with water.
No, so it's the foaming soap.
Okay.
It's in the wrong kind of
I
bottle.
will tell you it's not foaming.
No, because it's in the wrong kind of bottle. It's in
Okay.
you put the foaming soap in the other one that like turns it into
Gotcha.
foam. You can't put the foamy soap into a soft soap bottle because it doesn't turn it into foam.
Gotcha.
So
Okay,
it's
because
just
it has like the
liquid.
longer tube and shit. Okay. Yeah, because as I was using it, I was thinking, I'm like, okay,
Totally
if this,
different kind of soap.
Okay, because I was like, if this fucking psycho can spend a shitload of money on hamsters and Better Home and Garden magazines, like he can't afford soap.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah,
but
anyways. But yeah, no, other than that, a fine bathroom experience. The toilet worked, and that's pretty much my only
fan
requirement.
doesn't.
Fan does not work. Yeah, I've pooped in there several times without a fan, and I've just had to strategically go off of other noises that I hear,
You just
like in
wait
the
to
living
drop
room, in the
it.
hallway. Exactly. No, there was once I was trying to go, and I was like, I don't want to, but then you were looking at stuff on the PS4, like you were looking at game demos, and so like as soon as that music came on, I'm like, okay, now.
yeah, no, that was me being kind to you.
That's
what I
so
was
you knew
like-
it's just like he's been in there for a minute because he doesn't want me to hear it.
Yeah,
so I'll just,
no,
ooh, what is
100%.
this?
Yeah, no, I was like, oh, who could care about the
gonna
new
say-
Plants vs.
I was
Zombies?
gonna say, I already have Rocket League, but show me the new trailer.
Yeah,
Whatever.
exactly.
Oh man, yeah. So what did you like from this week?
Man, absolutely nothing.
Not a damn thing.
it
This
was
week fucking sucked.
No, it was totally fine. But I've been watching Breaking Bad again, just
right
as
on.
something easy to watch before I go to bed. And dude, it's such a good show.
It really is. There are very few shows, really just few pieces of media in general that like get such massive critical acclaim that actually deserve all of the acclaim that it
And
receives.
I really think that it does.
Yeah.
Like I've seen, so there have been a lot of comparisons since freaking Game of Thrones crashed and burned. And everybody's like, but Breaking Bad still holds up. And I was like, I really wonder if it does.
It's like, does it actually?
Does it really?
And
that's
you go
what's-
back to it, it's like, yeah,
Oh,
no, it
really
actually does.
Yeah, it really does. So it's just a really wonderful experience. All of the characters are fleshed out like perfectly.
Yeah.
The interactions are great. The writing and the direction and everything is all just really fantastic.
Yeah, and that's so it's so great with Breaking Bad because one, you can tell like Vince Gilligan had such a specific vision for the show.
Absolutely.
And like he stuck with that vision, but like it never really felt monotonous or samey. Like it was never like, okay, it's just another episode of Breaking Bad or anything like that. Like
Yeah.
it all just felt cohesive.
It was a story and that was the way it needed to be told.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was like, I don't know if he had the ending in mind the entire time.
I don't know
Or if
either.
he just sort of went with it and then did the most logical thing, which I assume it was probably that because...
I don't know if he had the ending the entire time, but I'm sure it probably
or at least
became pretty
probably at
clear
a certain
like
point,
as it
he's
got
like, okay,
closer
it's
to the
gonna be
end.
this, yeah. But it worked so well, and that's again like one of the few shows that really did just get stronger as it went along.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before. We actually had a conversation off mic about Game of Thrones v Breaking Bad, and how with Breaking Bad, like it was so concise because each season was only 10 episodes.
Yeah, so-
and what was it, like 6 seasons?
5.
5 seasons.
Yeah.
5 seasons, 10 episode seasons. Like,
And actually, the first season's only 8 episodes. Tyler pointed this out to me because
Yeah.
it was during the writer's strike. So like,
That's
got
right.
cut short.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, but so even still though, like it never overstayed its welcome. It never like asked you to get involved with like some side bullshit that you didn't really care about, or if it did, it was always meaningful.
No, that was the thing too. Is they definitely kept the character roster like really concise and really important.
Sure. Yeah, and whenever they did introduce somebody new, there was a good reason for it.
Yeah. And they had a tight storyline.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
no,
I-
it's a really enjoyable show.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people will talk about like the colors, which I don't really know a lot about that.
It's really interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that surrounds the colors. Like each
Mm-hmm.
character has kind of their own color or colors that they're kind of attached to.
Okay.
I used to think it was like, okay, well, you see this character in this color whenever they're doing well, or whenever you see this color in a scene, it's representing that character.
Okay.
But I think it's actually a little bit more ambiguous. I don't think it's like super like
Yeah.
black and white. Like I used to think, okay, Jesse's two colors are red and yellow.
Okay.
So I thought, okay, well, whenever there's yellow surrounding Jesse, that means he's in a good place. Whenever there's red surrounding Jesse, that means that he's in a bad place.
Okay.
But I don't think it's quite as black and white as that. I think it's a little bit
And I
more
think
ambiguous
yeah,
than
and
that.
having
But generally, that seems kind of like where it is.
Yeah, and I think just generally, like, if you're going to do that type of, like, color coding, it's best served ambiguous.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think... Because if it's like, oh, I can only use these colors if it means this specific thing is super
Right.
limiting. And it's
For
just
sure.
like, what if this shot looks fucking awesome yellow? Like,
Yeah, and
why
I
do
think
have
that's
to-
kind of
yeah.
basically where it goes. But there are the, like, colors are so vibrant in the show in
Yes.
general.
Yeah.
Last night, one of the last scenes that I saw before I fell asleep was them. It was Jesse and Walt, like, kind of arguing in the high school classroom that Walt works in.
Yeah.
And you don't really see this because it doesn't do this kind of shot, but the last scene is from above looking down on them.
Yeah.
And you see that the floor is this bright blue, which is obviously
Yeah.
the color code of the meth.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting because it's like, okay, so this is kind of where this shit started, was in this classroom.
Yeah.
And up until then, you haven't seen a shot of the floor. You wouldn't know that it was that color of blue.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it was a neat, like, oh, yeah, just a reminder, like, these two guys are in here arguing at the place kind of where this started.
Yeah, that's
Because
super cool.
Jesse was in Walt's chemistry class.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
you-
Like,
wow.
it all would have started there. And yeah, interesting stuff that I'm catching, like, watching through here, where maybe I'm reading so far into it that, like,
No, I really don't
that's
think
not
so.
intentional.
Well, and so
but
a couple things there. So one, just like you are right. Like the colors throughout the series are incredibly vibrant.
Yeah.
and I think that also just speaks to the strength of the direction of the show because it is
yeah.
like a pretty like it's. I mean, it's. I guess you could call it like a gritty crime drama if you had
yeah.
to really
Yeah,
simplify it.
yeah.
but you don't really see that type of vibrant color palette in those types of shows.
And it's really
so-
a character drama that
Yeah,
surrounds
that's true.
this, like, gritty crime plot. But yeah.
For sure. And so, like, yeah, just having just like, we're going to make it colorful, we're going to make it pop, and not going to be, we're not going to make it look like an episode of SVU or like
Right,
a Marvel
yeah,
movie
it's
where it's
just
just all
these-
dull and
yeah,
gray
exactly.
and lifeless. So that's a really great thing. Yeah, I had another point. I don't remember what it was. But yeah, Breaking Bad's cool.
It's cool. Yeah. If you have never seen it and
go watch
you're
it.
really upset about Game of Thrones, try Breaking Bad.
Yeah, obviously it doesn't
won't
have any
leave
of
you
the,
upset.
It doesn't have any of the dragons or nudity or anything, but like if you just want a really well thought out, concise character drama, yeah, Breaking Bad's a good one. Also, actually, I do remember what I was going to say. You've never watched X-Files, have you?
Not really, no.
Yeah, so Vince Gilligan got his start on X-Files.
Oh,
It's actually
really?
like the first thing he ever did. It's
That's
super cool.
awesome.
So he's from Virginia, actually. It's kind of near the Richmond area, which is
Okay.
where Angie's from.
Yeah.
And so he wrote in a spec script and just like mailed it to Fox.
Wow.
And just generally speaking, if you don't know, that's not really how you get work as a writer. Like if you're trying to be a TV writer and get into a writer's room, that's not really how you do it. But his script for X-Files was so good. They were just like, okay, we want to use this script and also we want you to join our writer's room because
Nice.
this is that good.
It's crazy.
So he showed up and started making the show with them. And like, so the first 4 seasons of X-Files are the best, but like some of the best episodes, I think he started in like season 2 or 3,
Okay.
but like his episodes are some of the best fucking X-Files episodes.
Nice.
And you can really see how like his brand of storytelling that he would eventually like really develop and have it come to fruition in Breaking Bad. Like you can tell how he got his footing in X-Files.
Nice.
And it's really cool. And also just X-Files fucking rules.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
It's great. I know later, I'm still going through it myself. I haven't seen all of it. I just finished season 5 and then there's a movie in between season 5 and 6. So I'm trying to watch the movie before I jump into season 6. But I've been told it's like, yeah, from there, it's like season 6 is like, season 7's like, all right, better. And then 8's like, and then 9's like, So, yeah.
So you've already seen the best of it.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's why I'm like less inclined to keep going. But I do fucking love X-Files, and I know I've been told the first movie is actually quite enjoyable. And again,
I've actually
the 6th
seen
and
that.
7th seasons are like worth watching for sure, and even the 8th season is worth watching. It's really like because the 9th season, like David Duchovny is like not really even in it.
Yeah.
And so it's Gillian Anderson and then somebody else taking Mulder's place, and it's just like, all right, we spent 8 seasons with this central character, and now he's not even there.
Yeah.
And I would argue just in general, I think in a lot of ways, Scully is stronger than Mulder, but this doesn't need to be an X-Files conversation. But all this is to say, you should watch X-Files.
Yeah,
It's great.
definitely.
And Vince Gilligan is a good writer. Yeah. So
What did you enjoy?
So first runner-up is just Math Rock having the best week it's had in a while.
Yeah.
Because my boys in Light released a new album.
Yeah, we were listening to that
Yeah, we
last
listened to a
night.
little bit of that
Cool
last
stuff.
night. Yeah, a lot of it is like a return to form to their first 2 albums, going back to those prog roots. It definitely doesn't have the same energy that those first 2 albums had. In particular, their second, which I still maintain is their best album. Listen to Lights Fantasia, by the way, if you want some awesome instrumental proggy shit. It's wonderful. But it is still that same tone. So even though it doesn't have that energy, it's just cool to see them going back to that territory, even if it's not as exciting and energetic. I mean, those albums, because like their very first album, Filmlets, came out in 2006. And then Fantasia was, I think, in 2009. So it's like that's 10 and 13 years ago, respectively. So to expect them to have that same energy after all that time is like, all right, they're older. Give them a break.
Yeah.
But I also just commend them for like going back to that style and still pulling it off pretty well. I also didn't even realize Sean put out their new record.
Yeah,
I didn't even realize, because I saw they had been putting out singles. I didn't actually realize until the drive over here that I just pulled up my Discover Week, or not my Discover Week, like the release radar. Yeah. And so it was just like, Sean, this song, it's like from the album Sean. I was like, oh shit, is it out? I was like, oh, it came out yesterday. Cool.
Yep.
And so I popped that on, and I really like what I heard so far.
Nice.
Yeah, Sean is one of those bands where it's like, I'm totally cool with just getting more Sean. Like even
That's
if
kind of
it's-
what it feels like.
Yeah. They do have like subtle variations across their albums. Like their first record was definitely, so all of the records sound like them. Like it's definitely that like very complex like jazz fusion style. But like the first record definitely had its roots in like post-hardcore. Definitely had a lot of that post-hardcore energy, and the production as well was pretty in that vein. Then the second one was incorporating more like electronic stuff, and just like really just like aesthetic stoner millennial shit. Is just all in there. And there's several tracks that had like
Some, like, hip-hop
like
stuff,
DJs
right?
and like
Like,
electronic artists that just more or less like remix a couple riffs. Which, to be totally honest, I didn't really like any of them aside from I don't remember who did it, but the very last remixed track was actually pretty cool, but the rest I didn't really care for. But overall, like that album was still good and nice and chill. And then this new one is definitely like, it's mixed like a jazz record. So like
nice.
it actually sounds different than the other 2. But I think that Sean does a really good job of like just kind of keeping their finger on the pulse of just online millennials, because that's what they are. But this one is definitely like the most like smooth jazz, like kind of 90s jazz sounding album. And it definitely makes sense because like, okay, if we were ever going to do this type of release, like with 90s nostalgia being where it is right now online, this would be the time to do it. So it definitely just it shows that they're paying attention and that they're in touch with
The aesthetic that they have for this album is really amazing.
I love it. Yeah, dude, the album art is great.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Sean fan. Like, if it's on, it's not going to bug me, but I don't like go out of my way to listen to it.
Yeah.
I checked out the first couple singles for this album, and I was like, it is definitely Sean.
Yeah, it's fucking Sean.
You know? But seeing like all of the merch and stuff that they have, it was like,
I
I'm
haven't
gonna
even seen
pretend
it.
like I love this album because I gotta get this hoodie, dude.
I haven't even seen it.
Dude, you gotta check out this merch. Like, dude, I really love the color palette of the album
yeah.
artwork and everything.
It's so good.
And
Yeah,
all of
I
that
love
translating to their merch is really freaking
for sure.
A plus.
And they definitely start. I mean, honestly,
And
all
whoever
three of
is
their
designing
records,
their stuff is doing
Yeah.
a really great job. Like you said, they definitely have their finger on the pulse of millennials.
of just stoner millennials.
Yeah,
Well, and
'cause,
especially
that
and
shit looks hip
and now that
as
I'm
fuck.
thinking about it, like really all of their records like look really great. Like the aesthetic
yeah.
of them, because Grow
Yeah.
was just like the foliage and the leaves looking really pretty, and then Homie was just like the pinks and yellows, and
Yeah.
it was just like some just like
This is kinda
California
like a,
sun
like
looking
a
shit. Yeah.
subdued purple, pink,
Yeah, for sure.
beige,
And which is also
kinda.
perfect for like the 90s jazz sound of the album. So yeah, I think it works really well. But those are just my honorable mentions. So you probably have a decent idea of what my pick is going to be.
Robbie Tripp.
It is Robbie Tripp. No, it's not. We will talk about Robbie Tripp though. We will get there. Trust me. But no, it is my favorite franchise ever released information about their next thing. So obviously I'm stupid stoked about
for
fucking
sure.
Pokemon. Pokemon's my favorite thing. And so, yeah, we got a whole bunch of new information about the upcoming Pokemon Sword and Shield. And I'm really fucking excited about it. All that they've showed off has been really promising. So, like, obviously all the starters are great and adorable. Grookey's just a little bastard. Like, Jonathan and I were talking about how Grookey just looks like he would fuck with you all the time and then just give you this shit-eating grin, like, like, it's like, you know what? Go fuck yourself, you green piece of shit. No, but all the starters are great. So, like, the new region is called Galar, and it is you can tell the whole idea they are trying to impart with this region is scale. Like, look how fucking big everything is.
It looks amazing.
They're introducing, for anyone that doesn't know, they're introducing a concept called Dynamax. And so basically, all of your Pokemon can become kaiju. So any Pokemon can become fucking massive for 3 turns and just be this big fucker standing behind you.
Gotcha.
So you have that. Also, instead of having smaller areas to catch Pokemon like you do in every other game, this one, they introduce something called the wild area, and it's basically one massive area that's constantly changing. Okay. And that's your main area to catch Pokemon. Like, yeah, there are going to be like smaller catching areas throughout the region. Like, they're not going to get rid of that entirely, but kind of the main place you catch Pokemon is this one really huge fucking place, and it constantly changes. And whenever it changes, it's not just like, oh, now it's nighttime and daytime. It's like, no, now it's covered in sand, and like now it's really floral. It's like, and now it's very grassy and wooded. And so whenever that stuff changes, different types of Pokemon show
that
up.
makes sense.
And so that's just a really cool concept to be introducing.
That's neat.
And then going into the Dynamax Pokemon, you also have max raid battles. So you can actually do local or online 4-player multiplayer where you all team up to take down this giant fucking Dynamax Pokemon and then all have a chance to catch it, which is something that they've already done in Pokemon Go. And so they're bringing that idea into these games.
Yeah.
So just like, and also one of my favorite things is is gym battles. So gym battles are the most popular form of entertainment in the Galar region. So instead of it just being at like, oh, it's like, this is your local Pokemon gym and you go and battle and whatever, it's like, no, this shit's in a fucking soccer stadium. Right. So it's giant. And also they do that to accommodate the Dynamax Pokemon because they know it's like people are going to make their fucking Pokemon huge. And it's obviously like, if that can happen in this region, of course people are going to flock to it.
Right,
like
right.
They need a stadium to house all the people that are interested in seeing this shit happen.
Yeah.
So
that's cool.
I think just the sense of scale is really great.
Man, seeing the environments and everything
so pretty
was like, okay, so they really are doing something different here. Like
you can tell that they saw Breath of the Wild and were like,
yeah.
we gotta do that.
It really does look like, it really does look like a new world, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, you can control the camera. That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's such a small little thing, but like you've just never been able to do it before because, obviously they've all been handheld games up until
and top-down pretty much.
Let's Go. And even Let's Go was still running the same engine as Sun and Moon, so like it wasn't designed to have camera control. But yeah, so like you can control the camera, and and they're using it in such creative ways. It's like, okay, the main reason we're doing this is so that you can see flying Pokemon above your head. Like, they're not going to be directly in your line of sight. So you can, like, angle the camera down and then just see them flying above you. It's like, oh, shit, I want that one. I want the fucking Butterfree or whatever. Cool. But I came across this conspiracy theory last night, and I think it makes a lot of sense. And just in general, I like indulging in Pokemon conspiracy theories because they're fun and they're harmless. Yeah. But this one, I really do think there's a good case to be made for this being legitimate.
I'm intrigued.
Okay, so the Gen 6 games were called X and Y. It was in the Kalos region, which was based off of France. Okay. So someone made this post on Tumblr. Shout out to Champion Irises for this conspiracy theory because I really enjoy it, and I think there's a decent chance this is actually real. So he was just like, man, I miss Kalos. Really wish we got Pokemon Z. Too bad we'll never get to go back to Kalos. Understand why that game was so vacant and unfinished. I don't know. Just wish that there was some clue or some kind of hint that we could go back to Kalos. Like, I don't know. Wouldn't it be cool if there was a region super close to Kalos and we could go back there post game? And so this new region is based off the UK, and Kalos is based off France. Geographically, they are right next to each other.
Right.
So it's like, okay. And then next, it's like, what am I thinking? Kalos was forgotten and left behind when Sun and Moon came out. There's no way it's coming back. Gen 8 isn't connected at all. So there's this little bird type Pokemon right here. And one of the first things you see in the trailer is that Pokemon on, what would you call that? Little thing that tells you the directions and it sways in the wind on top of a building.
Yeah.
whatever
I don't
that
know
is. Yeah.
why I can't.
Yeah.
It's a Weatherman.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what it's called.
Yep. So you got that. And so I actually noticed that in the trailers, but I didn't really think connecting it to X and Y. I was like, oh, neat little. It's like, oh, it's that one. So, and then it's like, also really wish he had an explanation on the unused train station in X and Y, because there was a train station in X and Y that you just couldn't access or use, but it was there. And then if you look on the map for Galar, there's a fucking train station that goes into nothingness. And so then it's like, okay, that's cool. Also, one of the things with Kalos was that it was so fucking lore heavy, but none of it went anywhere. So it's just like all this shit about there was a 3,000-year war, and like one of the legendaries was like brought back to life from a tree and some shit. And there's all these there's these towns with like these rock formations, and they all have like mystical abilities, but like none of it goes anywhere. None of it really pertains all that much to the main story. It's just this lore that's really interesting, but they just don't do anything with it. But one of the most recent mythical Pokemon that they actually introduced it through Pokemon Go for Let's Go, was Meltan, which then evolves into Melmetal. So Melmetal, its Pokedex description says, revered long ago for its capacity to create iron from nothing, for some reason it has come back to life after 3,000 years. So the most recent one they've introduced was alive 3,000 years ago. All of that shit. Also, you see this in the trailer for Sword and Shield, and that is an example of geomancy. One of the towns in Kalos is Geosenge's town, which has the rock formations that have like the mythical abilities and stuff. And so it says Geosenge's real life counterpart is likely Karnak, where megalith architecture dating back to 3000 BC can be found. And in that description, it says, a recent assertion states that the megaliths were set as protecting shields for an army of defenders of Karnak as a pre-erected burg against attacking enemies. And so Sword and Shield are the names of the games. Sure. Also, the regions themselves kind of look like swords and shields.
That makes sense.
But even more so than that, this was the thing I caught while watching the trailers for it. And this was before I saw this conspiracy theory. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And then going back to that, I was like, oh shit. So the Sword and Shield logos are the exact same shades of red and blue as X and Y.
Oh.
And Pokemon is very particular about colors.
Yeah.
Like, so the original red and blue games are not the same red and blue as Ruby and Sapphire or Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. And even like Fire Red and Leaf Green were different shades of red and green. Honestly, it was more orange than anything on Fire Red. And so then like X and Y were just this light blue and light red and the blue sort of faded into green and the red faded into a darker red. And Sword and Shield logos are doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think like I would be shocked if not a single person at Game Freak was like, hey, we already used these colors, like these exact same colors. Like if it was coincidental, I'm sure someone would have pointed it out. Also, why would Swords and Shields need to be blue and red? Like what about those necessarily lends themselves to being those colors?
I mean, my guess without knowing anything about the conspiracy theory would be that they are because this is more or less, I don't want to say like a rebooting of the series entirely, but it is sort of like a new
this is a totally new approach to the franchise.
So like kind of going back to Red and Blue, which was where the game started.
Yeah, but they just did that with Let's Go though.
Yeah.
Because those were the.
But I mean that was from the same region, right? As the original.
Oh yeah, no, because it was.
So, it would make sense that it was. Yeah.
So this, sort of like it's like, hey, this is like a new beginning. So maybe that's it. Maybe that could be the thinking. But I do also think,
also that it is like so directly the same.
Yeah, it is so directly the same. But the other thing I was thinking as well was just, so we were talking about the sense of scale and how that is just the mission statement of this game is like, look how fucking huge everything is. So generally in their marketing cycle, by now we probably would have seen who the rival team was going to be. So it's like Team Rocket, Team Aqua, Team Magma, Team Skull, Team Flare, whoever. But we haven't really seen that. Now, obviously this is a tenuous point because like E3 is right around the corner. They'll probably show more. Maybe we'll see that there's a rival team there. But how interesting would it be if there wasn't actually a rival team and the point of conflict was between Galar and Kalos? Like that was
neat.
So it's like, instead of dealing with some street tier thugs that are just trying to wreak havoc on this particular region, it's like, no, you're solving an international conflict.
Yeah, like that would be really cool.
And it's also not that far fetched for the Pokemon games, because in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire's Delta episode, they literally launch you into space. Nothing is that far-fetched. Like, I don't think anything is too, like, that might be too crazy for Pokemon.
No, I don't think that sounds
they launched
too
a
crazy
10-year-old into space. Like,
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, like you said, this sense of scale, like just pushing
just
that out,
being this huge thing.
Also, it would give an explanation to why you haven't gotten a reveal on the rival team yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and again, like this point is tenuous. Like it might tomorrow. Then I'd be like, oh yeah, by the way, it's team,
Right, it could come out
whatever.
between now and whenever we release this.
Yeah, exactly.
4 weeks from now, we'll know probably.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I just think it's interesting, and again, I think Pokemon conspiracy theories are fun and
It's
harmless.
fun. Conspiracy theories in general are fun.
Yeah. I mean, once you start like becoming like Alex Jones and being like, no, like the Sandy Hook kids are crisis actors, then it's like, all right, you're a major piece of shit.
Different.
And, yeah, different thing altogether. It's like, I'm just talking about fucking pocket monsters,
Yeah.
dude. Like I'm talking about a fucking children's card game and video game series.
Yeah.
Like
You can have as many theories as you want.
yeah, exactly. And it doesn't matter at all. Yep. But yeah, let us know in the comments what you think of Pokemon Theory. Do you like, subscribe?
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, like seeing kind of, I didn't watch the Nintendo Direct or whatever it's called.
The Pokemon Direct.
Yeah, there you go. Didn't watch that.
shit, yeah.
But I did see your posts about it.
Yeah.
And like that actually got me excited about it. I really haven't
like
played
particularly
a Pokemon
cared or,
game since. Like,
Yeah, because you borrowed my Sapphire.
Sapphire, yeah, I still have it. I got pretty far. I think I'm like just before going to the Elite Four.
Okay,
and
so
then I put it down.
So you got Kyogre? Legendary?
Maybe I haven't. Maybe that's what I'm about to.
Okay, gotcha.
I know I'm like,
Is it raining super hard and like you got to get to the place?
I don't remember.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
been, dude.
It's
It was
been a
it was
minute, yeah.
a while ago that
Yeah, that's
yeah.
totally fair. No, if my memory fails me ever, which it does quite a bit, but it never fails me more than trying to remember where I was in an RPG that I haven't played.
Yeah,
in a
no,
minute.
for sure.
Like,
Yeah, that's
I start
definitely tough.
RPGs over so
I-
often because I'll boot it up and it's just like I'm in the middle. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I know.
fuck, I don't even know
Dude,
what this is.
That's what no. That I have a huge problem with that too, and it's like one of the reasons why I haven't picked up Persona 5 in so long is because it's so
Same,
intimidating
same,
to try
yeah.
and get back into that. It's like I have booted it up, but I'm in a dungeon and I have no idea like
what's
where I'm supposed to
it's
go.
Like I don't really even remember how to play. Like,
Yeah,
it's been so long.
for real. And
Yeah,
it's like,
that's where I'm
man,
sitting with
like
it too.
I really enjoyed this game, and whenever I'm in it, like you can really get into it,
Yeah.
through it. But I've actually heard, I've talked about this with several people, and it's like I think if you just keep restarting these games, you'll never finish them, and that's like where that's where I'm at, and why I have been refusing to restart
Yeah.
Persona 5 is that I just need to turn it on and fucking bang my head against it until I figure out
Till you figure
where
out where
I
the hell you
am,
are,
and
yeah.
then just get through it, because it's just gonna take so much less time
Yeah, for
to
sure.
do that than it would be to get back to where I am.
There are certain RPGs that do this. I think Final Fantasy Type O did this, and then actually Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green did this, where like when you boot up the game, it'll
Oh, it
give
gives
you a
you-
brief synopsis.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, if you don't remember, here's where
That's
you were.
incredibly
And it's
useful.
just like every single RPG should have this.
I think-
every single one.
If I'm not wrong, I'm pretty sure that Persona 5 has like a log of the last
Yeah,
things that
so
you
that's
did.
yeah, because you can go in the pause menu and just like kind of look like, okay, I'm
but
kind
it's
of
still
right here.
like really ambiguous.
I was gonna say, but it's
like you just got
one
into a
thing-
fight, you just entered this room, you just opened this chest. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well,
that doesn't really tell me
yeah,
anything.
Yeah,
It's like, but it's also like one thing to be like, oh, there's a log you can go and check and kind of piece it together on your own. It's another
actually
thing for them
show-
to just
yeah,
show
so-
you
yeah.
like,
No, it's
here's the
very
literal
different,
story
for sure,
beats with
very
character
different.
names, locations, all of that.
Yeah.
That would make it
mean,
a lot
super
better.
useful. Yeah,
And
super
also just
useful.
super simple. Like
Yeah.
it's not like a terribly difficult thing to implement. Or maybe it is. Maybe it's actually really hard and I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't know.
But yeah, I mean, that's happened to me many times where I'm just like, okay, well, I don't know where I am. I'm gonna turn this game off and play something else or start it over.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But speaking of just things from Japan that we enjoy, I came across this concept yesterday that I really wanted to discuss with you. I wrote it down and I told you the name of it, but I did not tell you what it was.
Yeah.
So the name of this concept is Orgasm Wars.
okay,
So basically, what Orgasm Wars is there's a game show, or it is a recurring segment on a Japanese game show. Or I think it's recurring. It may have actually just been a one-time thing, and people were like, and no more. But maybe it's recurring. I don't know. It was honestly kind of hard to find information on it. But basically, the concept was that there are two men. One is a straight porn star. The other is just some gay guy. Just
Okay.
some gay guy. And basically, the gay guy has to give the straight porn star a blowjob and make him climax. And the porn star's goal
My parents are
is
gonna
to
love this, bro.
Exactly. Hi, mom. No. But the straight porn star's goal is to not
not,
climax
yeah,
in 40 minutes.
whoa,
So he has to be. So he's
That's a long
receiving
segment,
a blowjob for 40 minutes.
That's a long
receiving
segment,
a blowjob for 40 minutes, and it's obviously you're not watching it in real time. I think it was condensed down to about 10 minutes.
That's still
Yeah,
a
but
long segment.
even still. So it's like he has 40 minutes to not come. Thoughts, comments, concerns?
I mean, I think that's what they've been preparing for. Like,
All their
that's what
lives?
they're professionals. You know what I mean?
So here's what I was thinking though. Okay, so it's like, so for the person giving the blowjob, obviously they want to make the person climax because if it's a competition, they want to show like I am good at giving blowjobs.
Right.
But I don't really understand the incentive for the straight porn star to not ejaculate, other than to prove he's not.
Well,
gay?
is there not a prize?
No, I think it's just the prize is like we all believe you're straight. Like I don't know what the fuck. Yeah, and so it's like
I mean,
oh, also okay. I did forget one key detail: the dude's penis and also the guy's head that's giving the blowjob are in a cardboard box.
I mean, it has to be. It has to be. Yeah.
You can't show that on TV.
Yeah. No, it's for the kids. You can't.
Exactly. No, it was a late night program, so I think it was understood. It's like this was for adults, but regardless, yeah.
Yeah, that's no. I mean, that's what they fucked up. Is that there should be some sort of incentive. There's got to be a reward, man.
And maybe there is. Maybe it's like a $10,000 reward or something. Yeah. And so, okay, but I was thinking
because otherwise, no, you're right. It's just like I would just be like, okay, well,
yeah,
let's get this over with. It's 40 minutes of my life.
Yeah. Well, then it's also like, is it like why does it? I don't even think that if you're straight and you just receive a very good blowjob and you climax, I don't think that makes you gay. I don't think that's what does it.
I think the only thing a guy makes you gay, bro.
I was gonna say, I think the only thing that makes you gay is being gay. I think that's the only thing that does it.
I don't think that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it is kind of like a bit of a homophobic concept. Like just
it definitely is.
Yeah.
If the point is
like, is he gay?
Is he actually gay?
Like,
this is how you prove that you're straight.
Thing. Yeah.
If the name of the show is "Prove You're Straight," then yeah, it's a really homophobic concept. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't have to be a man. But the thing is I guess that maybe it would be more challenging if it's a straight guy. Maybe it's more the challenge is more interesting.
I guess
if it's a dude, because it's not what you're attracted to. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's like, okay, well, now you have to try. I don't know. That's weird.
It's so weird, right?
It's
like it's kind of like breaking my brain.
Seems like it would be more of a challenge if it was a really attractive woman that was doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Because it's like, oh no, this is what I'm attracted to.
Yeah, it's like
now
so the
I've
challenge
got, like,
is
a real
like
challenge
try
presented
not to
me.
come. It's like
but I guess
okay,
the
sure,
point
whatever,
is
like,
that it's I don't.
It's incredibly odd. And
really
I also
weird.
think
I mean, it's a really strange concept.
It's very fucking weird.
Really weird to
but
do.
it's also it's just there's so many different elements to it that it's hard for me to wrap my head around.
Yeah.
So like the other thing is like a porn star in general is probably decent at controlling when they come.
I mean that's
like I
part
think that's
of being a porn star is that
I think that's probably
it's not just about lasting, it's about being able to do it on command.
Exactly.
So it's the point
like,
is
it's
that
not even
you
necessarily
can hold
about
it for when the director says go.
Okay, now's the time to do it. Yeah, when you get that fucking cue. For what they in the biz call the money shot. But no. So it's like, I think if you're a porn star, it's probably more about being able to come on command and also like being able to do it like well or like be like it has to look good on film. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like you can't be like hunched over and look.
No, they're professionals.
Yeah, exactly. Like so. It's probably more about that than like actually literally being good at sex. But so it's like,
I mean, it is all performative in the first place.
It is a performance art. But so like he's probably good at not coming. So this person so this person giving him a blowjob is just a guy. It's just a guy. It's not like this person isn't also a porn star.
Right. So not necessarily
just
particularly good at giving blowjobs.
Exactly. Right. Not necessarily. Or maybe it's just like, hey, word on the street is you're good at sucking dick.
I was gonna say maybe they had a whole tryout.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're just like, this guy is just the blowjob dude.
I also think it's so on the show. the guy giving the blowjob is not like he just goes by the name Takumi.
Oh,
like no last name or anything.
Cool.
Or I guess maybe no first. I don't know. It's just a single name. Yeah. A single name. It's like Prince or Seal.
He's the prince of. This is the Prince of Japan.
Exactly. Yeah. Just a crazy concept. But I think it's like okay.
People on the Discord are going to be asking for links, bro.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I didn't even. So, I saw it as a description, like it was a Today I Learned. So it was from Reddit, reposted to Tumblr is how I saw it. And then I tried to find it on my own, and there's like a Huffington Post write-up of it, which what is Huffington Post doing? Or what were they doing in 2013, whenever this happened?
Nothing.
Yeah. So there's a YouTube link to it, but it's no longer active for obvious reasons.
Yep.
But
have you checked some other websites?
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, okay, so I haven't checked like Pornhub or anything.
Yeah,
it very well might be on there.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I would.
Actually might be, though.
I think if you've got to do some research, dude.
Yeah.
You might have to get on there, take one for the team.
Yeah, so if anybody has any insight on this, or has like seen the episode, or has been to Japan, or hell, if you are one of the two guys,
give me a call.
Please contact us. We need to know more information about this. I need to know. No, I want to know about casting. I want to know about like how. Like, was it actually like a 40-minute thing? Did you do multiple takes?
Right.
Like, I need to know all the information.
How performative was it? Where, everything.
Was there a boom mic like right by the cardboard box?
Right.
Like,
what could you hear?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What could you smell?
Yeah, from the TV. Yeah.
Again,
everything.
Sorry to our parents if you are listening. I hope you're not. I hopefully by the first episode, after 2 hours of us talking about fast food, you're just like, I'm supportive of my boys, but I don't need to listen.
Right. $5 on Patreon,
attitude.
People. $5 on Patreon. Help us out. Help us out. Help us out.
Or even $1. Any amount of money on Patreon is $5. Or what did we say last time? A Tesla?
A Tesla, yes.
Give us
send a Tesla to the Patreon.
On the Patreon page, I said you could also give us a monthly decommissioned naval vessel.
Yeah, down for that too. We could probably scrap that out for parts.
I was going to say, that was my one scathing indictment of the military-industrial complex in the Patreon description.
We'll take it, man.
Yeah. So anything you want to throw our way,
Yeah.
or you could pay us in Japanese blowjob information.
Yes, that's equally as valuable.
If you have some insight,
if
you got that inside scoop. If you know Takumi and don't feel the need to like give us personal information. Like, don't tell me where Takumi lives. I don't need to know any of that. But you gave me a look just then, like maybe you do want to know where Takumi lives.
I mean, it's not like I could get there.
That's true. Flights to Japan
Not
are
cheap.
expensive. It's not cheap. And so that has been our segment on Orgasm Wars. And if we had advertisers, we would probably do it right after this segment specifically.
Should have done it in the middle of it.
Exactly. We'll stitch we'll stitch a pre-recorded ad from Podbean just right in the middle
right
there.
Yeah.
Right.
Perfect. Just drop right
Dude,
out.
how furious would an advertiser be if you didn't tell them that you're going to talk about Orgasm Wars, then immediately launch into one of their ad reads?
There are a lot of podcasts that do that.
Oh, yeah.
That are
well, obviously,
just
like your mom's house
content.
got destroyed over it.
Oh, yeah. No, they got destroyed. Yeah, for sure. That's a way that it did not work out.
Yeah.
But even so, like, a lot of those shows, like, really do kind of, like, jump in and out of this ridiculous content straight into ads and stuff like that. So it's like, I mean, the advertisers have to be pretty, like, aware of the channel's content. You know what I mean?
Well, or they should be. And if they're not, it's their fault.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you're putting your name on this stuff.
Then
so
again, though, executives are busy. Podcasts are long. To a certain extent, you can't really be expected
you don't need to listen to every
everything.
single episode of Your Mom's House to know what the content's like.
That's true. Listening to an episode, like spend an afternoon, like, well, and that's the thing too. It's like you can spend 3 hours not actually doing work, being like, I have to make sure this is appropriate for the brand,
right?
For the brand,
and it can also just be on in the background, like
while you're working
as
on
soon
other
as you
shit.
start hearing about farts and orgasms and
it's like,
and
nope.
people sticking stuff in their butts. It's like, okay, maybe we don't do it.
I was gonna say
Stitch Fix is not for this.
I was gonna say Blue Apron is a family-friendly brand.
Yeah.
And we are not.
Yeah.
So I went to this restaurant not terribly long ago. It was it was earlier this week because I wrote this down to talk about. I'm not gonna say the name of the restaurant because I don't want to start a feud, although I kind of do. But it was at this restaurant in Nashville, and
I know.
So it took forever for us to get our food. But when we did, finally got service, finally got our order, came out, and I noticed that my fries, there was a massive temperature difference between, I got like a chicken sandwich and then fries. And so chicken sandwich was like hot, like definitely was just cooked and brought out to me. And it was pretty good. I'll definitely give them that. It was a decent chicken sandwich. Then the fries, I'm like, these fries are like really lukewarm. I was like, these were probably made like a fucking while ago.
Yeah.
Like they're not.
Which places will do that. You know,
Yeah,
keep them,
sometimes
like,
that
under a
happens.
warmer
Yeah, but
or
it's like whatever. And I was like, these are just kind of whatever. And so then I was with Angie, and so she took one, and she was like, these taste like McDonald's fries. And then I was like, huh. And I took another one, and I hand to God, they were literally McDonald's fries.
Yeah.
Like, there is a 0% chance that those fries were not from McDonald's. Like they absolutely were. I'm positive of it. From the way that like the grease sits on your fingers and like how that salt just stays there. Yeah. And also like later on I burped and like the McDonald's fry burp is a very distinct taste. Sure. That throat taste. Yeah. It's so like I have eaten McDonald's fries
enough times to know
more than any fries ever.
Oh yeah. Easy.
By far. Yeah. By far. I know McDonald's fries when I had, they're fucking McDonald's fries. Like they went to McDonald's, bought a large fry, slapped them on my plate.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder how many they bought. They're just like, I don't know. Out of fries, and the best thing to do is go to McDonald's. That's crazy.
And the other thing for me is like, if you just told me, we're actually out of fries right now, I would have just picked a different side. Yeah. It's not a big deal. Like I didn't need fries.
Not everybody's as reasonable as that though. Some people are like,
what, you don't have fries?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. That's definitely true. No, if you've worked in the service industry, you know people will freak the hell out like that. But here's the thing too. They not only charged me for the fries, but the price of a side of fries was more than a large fry at McDonald's.
Yeah.
Like I paid.
Well, they had to. Yeah, they still have to make a profit.
Yeah. So it's like I overpaid for lukewarm McDonald's fries with a chicken sandwich from a different restaurant.
Yeah.
And so like you can't do that legally, right? Like you're not allowed to.
Yeah, I really don't think so. Yeah, I really don't think so.
Like I can't imagine because I mean you work in a restaurant.
Yeah, I mean,
way more restaurant experience
so I mean in different restaurants. Yeah, we have had to like go to never like another fast food restaurant, but like we've had to go to a grocery store or like
it's like we're out of tomatoes. We need to get tomatoes.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
that kind
totally
of thing.
different than
or even get like I would say even before going to I've never been somewhere where we like ran out of French fries, but even before going to another restaurant and ordering fries, you would go to a grocery store and buy frozen fries.
Yeah.
And fry them.
Yeah. See, even
that's more or less
probably
what
wouldn't have known.
Fries are at a restaurant is just a bag of frozen fries. They get shipped on a truck.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's ostensibly no different than like whatever brand you would get at Walmart. Yeah.
Right.
But like, the fact that it was literally just lukewarm McDonald's fries that they put on my plate and tried to pass off as their own. Like that's plagiarism. Like not literally, but actually
it's something for sure. Yeah.
Because I can't imagine. Because I actually remember there was some story. I don't remember if it was on like Last Week Tonight or like some late night show or something. But I remember seeing a story about this restaurant that was just selling Popeye's chicken. Like that was just like every single day they would go down the street to Popeye's, buy a shitload of chicken, and then sell it as their own. And so then one day someone called them out and was like, "Yo, this is just Popeye's chicken. Like this is definitely just Popeye's chicken." And they denied it, and they're like, "No, it's not fucking Popeye's chicken. Whatever." And so then it's like, it's not Popeye's. And so then I don't know who they got, but I don't know if they got like an investigator or like the cop. I don't know who you call. That was my thing. It's like, I'm sure you can tell someone about this, but I don't know who. But they got whoever you're supposed to contact.
FDA or something like that.
So they got someone out there, and they were just like, okay, this is Popeye's chicken. That's absolutely what this is. And like, because they like checked the kitchen and everything, and like saw the fucking boxes laying back there. And they were just like, we never claimed it wasn't Popeye's. We never said that we made it here. So we're allowed to resell Popeye's chicken. And they're like, no, you can't. Like, you cannot do that.
There's a lot of rules that kind of surround like prepared food in a kitchen and what you can and can't sell.
So absolutely. Yeah. Well, and it should be that way. Yeah. Like there's a lot that can go wrong with just cross contamination in general. Like
if you're getting cooked, if you're getting ready to eat food from one place and bringing it to another place and then reselling it, there's so much.
So much that can go wrong there. Like it's unsafe.
It's also there's just no way. Like, you could I cannot believe that you could just go to Popeye's and resell it.
Yeah.
Like,
there's no,
you know what I mean?
Like, why would you, I mean, and I guess, like, at the end of the day, Popeye's is getting their money no matter what, because they're buying the chicken. Like, it'd be one thing if they were stealing it.
Like, think about it this way. Okay, so if we get a permit for a lemonade stand.
Yeah.
Right? And then we just go to Little Caesars and buy 6 pizzas and then sell Little Caesars pizza by the slice at a lemonade stand. Yeah. Like, technically, we have a permit to sell, right?
Yeah.
But you can't just sell Little Caesars pizza, right?
And that was the thing, too, because I wanted to call them out, or I wanted to, like, do something, but it's just like, I literally wouldn't know where to start. Like, I have no idea. I didn't feel like Googling, like, I think this restaurant is selling McDonald's fries. Please help me, internet. Like, I didn't really know what to do. Like, because really,
please don't tell anybody.
Yeah, I guess really all I wanted was to not pay for them.
Yeah.
Like, that was pretty much all I wanted.
Which, like, is reasonable.
It is super reasonable.
If you want to go
that's
get
not me being
McDonald's
like
fries, then you can go to McDonald's and get fries.
for cheaper.
Yeah.
For cheaper, I could have gotten
hot.
them at McDonald's, and they probably would have been hot.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily true.
That's not necessarily true. But
that's why McDonald's is a B in our book.
I was going to say, we've spoken to McDonald's consistency in the past, though. So, I, like, sometimes you do run into these situations in a restaurant where you've got to make a quick fix and you've got to do that kind of thing.
Yeah, of course.
But it's
like, that's
never
not
going to
the
be.
fix.
Yeah, no, it's not a fit. Like, I don't. Like you said, just you have to kind of run out of fries at that point, or you can't. You literally can't just go to another restaurant.
and
It had
get
to
their
have been
fries,
harder to get that many McDonald's fries, like to have a stockpile of McDonald's fries to serve, than it would be to go buy frozen bags of fries and fry 'em.
Yeah, so I mean, they must have just had them under a heat lamp, except for they probably didn't. They probably just had them in the back and then put them under the heat lamp for a couple minutes with my food to try and get them as close to the same temperature as they can. And then it's like, well, shove them out. Who cares?
Some weird shit, dude.
Yeah. So my first instinct is to never go back to that place.
I would say.
But then I'm also like,
you actually kind of maybe like
I kind of want to go back because it's
Yeah.
like, if I go back, like, one, maybe they're just having a rough day and their service is really bad.
I would just ask,
that one day,
like,
but it's
where they
also
get
like,
their fries from before you even order.
I could like jokingly.
They're not like-
they're not
actually
McDonald's
from
fries.
it. Yeah,
they're not like
right.
McDonald's fries, right? They're not like literally from McDonald's.
I would do that,
Like,
dude.
you don't just literally go.
They're
to
not
McDonald's.
literally-
the one right over there on 12th. You don't go over there.
No,
and
that's
then
what
drive
I would
back.
do if I were you. I'll go with you.
No, we should. They also had the shittiest playlist.
Yeah.
I was talking about it in we have a group Snapchat. I was talking about it in there because it went from, I think it was like Matchbox 20 to Jimmy Eat World to Linkin Park to Matchbox 20 a second time.
Oh, man.
Like, so it was just like these weird.
That sounds like every person that plays music at the plaza.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but it's just like, it was just this weird mismatched playlist of just hits from the 2000s. Like, didn't matter what the genre was or who the artist was, so long as it came out between 2000 and 2009, we will play it in this restaurant right now.
Yeah, no, that's strange. Like I said, no, that is like very similar to exactly the kind of playlist that every one of these like singer-songwriters that plays at the plaza in the morning does.
Okay.
Like, it's literally like, okay, well, here's Matchbox 20 and Sister Hazel and then Goo Goo Dolls and then
Google Dolls also played. Yeah.
Dave Matthews Band and then this and then this. It's like not a single song from the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's really weird. And also, they just never change up their set lists. It's like every week it's the same like 19-decade-old light rock hits.
Yeah, pretty much. I had this, so you brought up Dave Matthews. That reminded me of this. So, like, is Dave Matthews hot? Or, like, do people think he's hot?
I don't think so.
I couldn't imagine, right?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because, okay, the reason I bring this up, so Angie has been watching through Sabrina the Teenage Witch, like not the new Netflix one, but like the original with Melissa Joan Hart. And I will say, to that show's credit, the first couple seasons are actually genuinely good.
Nice.
Like, I really enjoy them. They were really funny. Also, just some cool concepts, like the way they implement like the magic rules and like how that relates to Sabrina's life was really solid. And again, like most of the comedy worked really well. It was actually a pretty smart show, and I liked it. But it was once Sabrina went to college, it just like really started going downhill. But so she's in, I think, season 6 or something, which I think is the last season. But in that, there's like a passing joke that's made about yeah. So Howie from the Backstreet Boys was in the episode.
Oh, yes.
Fucking
That's awesome.
Right? Yeah, no, it rules.
They'll just take any Backstreet Boy.
Exactly. They'll take the worst Backstreet Boy. I'm kidding. That's Kevin. But but no, so they bring him in on the show, and like he's just like this total dickbag. He's an egomaniac, and he's a piece of shit. And so she makes his head.
Howie?
Exactly, right? Howie.
Not Howie.
The most humble one of the bunch. So basically she makes his head huge physically because he has a big head. So you can see why those seasons went downhill. So he had a big head, and that was the whole thing. But he said some comment about like her being attracted to him, and she was like, I would never like do that. I would never be a groupie. She's like, unless it was for like Dave Matthews or something. And I was like,
that's
Dave
funny.
Matthews. Dave Matthews is who Melissa Joan Hart finds attractive. It's Dave Matthews.
He just looks like somebody's dad, dude.
That's exactly what I thought.
Maybe that's the point.
Maybe that's it, though. Maybe that's it. Maybe Melissa Joan Hart was ahead of the daddy kink by like a fucking decade.
Yeah.
Like she was way fucking ahead of the curve. And
Sounds
she was like, hey,
it
everybody,
pretty much
just
sounds
so
like
you know.
it.
She let the record show that Melissa Joan Hart wants to be choked by Dave Matthews.
Undeniable.
It's in her contract. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. I
He's
don't
not
think.
hot, though.
I didn't know. Have you seen him?
I actually, you know what? I'm going to pull up a picture of Dave Matthews right now. I got to know.
He was in movies, dude. He was in Don't Mess with the Zohan.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Wow. I saw
He
that
was
movie
like,
once, and I
yeah.
remember it sucking so much ass.
He actually is. I think he's supposed to be like this rich hot guy in that movie, actually.
Fucking what, dude?
Yeah. He was also in Where the Red Fern Grows.
Okay, I've never seen that.
Yeah.
He is. Are you shitting me? I'm looking at Dave Matthews. Everyone, Google
Google.
image search Dave Matthews
Give it a
right
go.
now, along with the podcast. We'll wait. But like, oh my god, with his hats and his just, he's not.
He's not
honestly-
hot. He's not like ugly. He's not hot.
Honestly, looks a bit like my stepdad.
Really?
He doesn't look too far off from Donnie. Like, look at this picture.
Oh yeah. Wow.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, he's not ugly. Like, he's
No,
not
he's
a
not
fucking
ugly.
train wreck or anything, but it's like, he's not particularly attractive. Like, he's just a dad.
He's not
like,
daddy.
Yeah, no. He looks like a dad, but he's not zaddy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't.
That's interesting that got brought up. Like that's just it. I think that it probably was just like that's like the music that she really likes.
Yeah, just
and
at the
that's
time. In the context of the show, she's a journalist working for like a music magazine.
Oh, really?
And so,
Okay.
yeah, like that's why she was covering like Howie from the Backstreet Boys. I mean,
So he
wasn't
was
literally-
actually playing himself.
No, he wasn't.
Oh,
He
okay.
was playing like a pop star. I don't even remember his name.
I think it's so weird that it was Howie. Dude.
It's so weird that it was Howie.
It's like they couldn't get any of the other ones.
Oh well, yeah. Well, because okay, so this season of Sabrina, I think, was like 2001 or 2.
Okay.
So at that point, Justin Timberlake, I think, had already launched a solo career.
But that's not.
I think he was already doing Justified and all of that shit.
Yeah,
and
but
doing
Justin Timberlake wasn't a
commercials.
Backstreet Boy.
Wait, what?
Justin Timberlake wasn't a Backstreet Boy.
No, I know, but I'm just
Okay.
saying that like.
Oh, you're just saying time.
Yeah, like in
period-wise.
terms
Yeah.
of like the popular boy band
Right.
members, Justin Timberlake was probably the most popular at the time, but he was also already doing his solo
Yeah.
career. But yeah, but of the Backstreet Boys, though, you would think Nick or Brian.
You would think, yeah, or
And wasn't that
Yeah.
because? And I actually think Nick Carter also put out a solo album around that time.
probably.
I remember he had a track called Saturday that as a very young child I was into.
Yeah.
And then I actually listened back to it, not recently, but also not terribly long ago. And like, I just remember finding it like so incredibly strange. It's like a weird, it almost sounded like machine learning tried to make a pop song. Like it doesn't sound like it was composed by humans.
Weird.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
odd. Like there's
I mean,
like,
I think during that time they were just like anybody that took on a project with one of the Backstreet Boys assumed that whatever they did was going to be popular.
yeah, it doesn't
because
matter
they
which
were a
Backstreet Boy it was, so long
Yeah.
as it, and Sabrina
Especially
Teenage-
after the success of
Yeah.
Justin Timberlake and seeing that like these guys can just go have their own solo careers, just
for
pump
sure,
them all
yeah.
out and see what sticks.
Sabrina the Teenage Witch also was no stranger to having musical guests because throughout the series they had musical guests. Like that
Okay.
was actually a pretty decent chunk of the show was
Gotcha.
like having musicians show up. And most of the time it was kind of whatever. It was silly. But like
Slipknot.
no Slipknot. Dude, that would have been fucking amazing.
Awesome.
If they came out of the closet, which
Yeah,
is like the portal
yeah,
to the other
yeah.
realm, like Slipknot
Yeah.
just comes out and like punches Salem in the face.
Dude. Yeah. No, I'd watch that episode easy.
Dude, we
I'd watch
should
the whole show.
Dude, okay. So obviously they've already rebooted Sabrina the Teenage
Yeah.
Witch, the Archie character, but I want to reboot Sabrina the
Oh,
Teenage
yeah.
Witch. Yeah, because that's what the new Netflix
Yeah,
one
yeah,
is.
yeah,
Is that's
yeah.
it's the more like it's in the vein of like Riverdale, like it's the more like
Yeah.
serious soap opera y type of shit. But I want to reboot the comedy sitcom starring Melissa
Yeah.
Joan Hart, but like with the comedic sensibilities of like I Think You Should Leave.
Oh yeah.
Just like some absurdist, really off the wall,
Oh, yeah.
crazy shit, but also like bring back some of the cool, like ironic magic shit.
I was
like,
gonna say
from the early
that kind
seasons.
of that would like you said, those comedic sensibilities would play into magic really well.
Yeah,
'Cause you just
absolutely.
do such off the wall crazy stuff with
For sure.
a world where there aren't really rules.
Sabrina, man, we could do it.
We
could
should
write
do it.
Let's
Let's
pitch
do
it.
it.
To, what channel was that on? Was it like CBS?
I would think it was like WB.
Was it WB? It definitely did have that like.
I
kind
may
of
have like
lower
watched
budget.
reruns though. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
If I
it was
watched
always on
whenever it was
ABC
coming out.
Family.
Oh
is
yeah,
when I
yeah,
was
yeah,
watching
yeah,
it.
yeah. That makes sense.
It's on Hulu now, so we'll
Yeah.
pitch it to Hulu.
Yeah,
because they
that's
will
what
take
matters,
it.
yeah.
If they'll put on The Act, then they will definitely put on
Well, that means we got to make it sexy, dude.
post-ironic. Oh yeah. Oh, I
Gotta
mean,
make it real sexy.
are you gonna act like Melissa Joan Hart isn't a total babe though?
We're gonna put her. We're gonna get her again. Get her again. We're just gonna get her again. She is. Okay, so I was listening to these dudes talk about.
Just on the street?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just past these guys talking about no. But these dudes in New York talking about going to a fest in Chicago, right?
Okay. Is it the Straight Pride Fest?
No, it was like
Okay.
some like hardcore festival.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
total different thing.
The opposite, actually.
Okay. Cool.
That's actually the Straight Pride Fest. But anyway, sorry. So they are talking about taking a Greyhound
Okay.
from New York to
Is this a
Chicago.
self-defense
There's like
family?
Yeah, it was the guys in Axe to Grind, which I
Okay,
think
yeah.
it was a joke. They're not actually talking about taking a Greyhound. Like they're not seriously considering
does
taking
that,
a Greyhound.
though. Or he
he
takes
does do
trains,
that. Like,
like-
because he doesn't like planes, so like
Yeah.
he does buses and stuff like that. But still, like they're joking about taking the 20-hour Greyhound bus ride from New York to Chicago, which is insane.
That is
What
crazy.
person? Okay, it's okay. So it's one thing if you're in a bad situation and you have to get across the country, and
Yeah.
a Greyhound bus ticket is like $13.
Yeah, and it'll
across the
fucking get you
country,
there.
and you've got to
That's
get
actually-
out. Whatever, understandable.
Yeah.
You have no other options.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what Donovan did. Like whenever, like before he ended up moving up here and living with me, he came up to visit once. And so I was visiting in Texas. I drove him back up with me. He stayed for
yeah,
like
that's
a week.
right, that's
and then he
right.
took a Greyhound
Yeah.
bus back to Texas.
Which
And
is still a long.
it's a long
bus
fucking-
drive.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a 10-hour car ride.
Yeah,
So like
yeah.
the bus drive, I think his was like, I don't even know how long it was. I think it was like,
Dude, they may not have even talking about. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it,
Yeah.
like from New York to Chicago is probably more than 20 hours on a bus. They may have been talking about somewhere else.
okay, yeah.
But my point is that who is taking a 20-hour bus ride by choice?
Yeah, if
Like
you
who
can afford
wants to
another
spend
option.
20 hours in a bus with other people, anybody else,
Yeah, for sure.
everybody else? Like,
Yeah, I mean, again, especially assuming that you have other options. Like if you have more, like if you could take a train or take a plane or even drive yourself.
like yeah, even if okay, so it's super cheap, but the amount of time
Yeah,
is
for sure.
insane.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got to plan an extra day of your trip to take the bus for 20 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it's also like, yeah, and that's kind of where like value math comes in. It's like, okay, like if I have to leave a day early, like let's say I could have worked that day,
That's
how much money
exactly.
would I have made that day versus how much money I'm saving taking the bus versus
Instead of
driving
getting a plane
myself?
ticket
Yeah,
or-
or getting
yeah.
a plane ticket or whatever. Yeah.
It's just crazy. I can't imagine. Like, I personally, like, I wouldn't sit on a Greyhound bus for that long, like, under any circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, I would go stir crazy. Like,
Yeah.
the longest trip I've taken was I flew to Germany once, and I was in middle school because my sister was in the military and she was stationed in
yeah,
Germany. It's also where my nephew was born, so we went to go visit her and also see the birth of my nephew.
Right.
And that was a long flight. Like, I think that flight was like, I think it was something like 11 hours or 14 hours
yeah,
or something.
for sure.
And it was a terrible fucking flight because there was this family. So my mom and I were on the left hand side row. Like if you're looking forward on the left hand side, there's this family in the center row that had the stinkiest curry that
Yeah.
I have ever smelled. Like, and I don't necessarily dislike curry, but like it was so fucking horrible smelling. Like it smelled like absolute shit. And they just had these like they had, and it was an entire family. So it was an entire family's worth. It was like just a curry sandwich picnic.
That's pretty crazy. Like, the thing is that that's just a disrespectful traveling food.
It really is.
You know what I mean?
It really,
Like,
really
just
is.
be courteous to your fellow
Yeah.
travelers.
No, like I remember.
Like, I don't care. Like, whatever, I like curry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, again, like, I don't necessarily dislike it,
it's cool
but,
if
like-
if I'm in a restaurant. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm gonna expect it. If I'm in somebody's home and they're making it, whatever, I'm gonna expect it.
And I also have smelled
Whenever-
curry that smells good.
Yeah, for
but
sure,
Like
for sure.
this curry in particular was horrendous. Like it straight smelled like sulfur.
Yeah,
Like,
that's wild.
That was what it smelled like. It was terrible.
Yeah,
so
that's
like
bad.
I actually remember going into the bathroom to like escape the smell. And think about that for a second. I was on an international flight from Texas to Germany where Texans and Germans are shitting, presumably. And so I went in there for several minutes just inhaling everybody else's airplane bathroom shit fumes
was
instead
better.
of the curry
Yeah,
because it
that's
was
rough.
a superior smell.
That's rough, man.
Yeah.
That's real bad. It's just disrespectful, dude. It's like there's so many just strong smelling foods, dude. Just be
Yeah.
aware. Like, don't eat fish on a plane either.
Don't-
You
yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, be courteous of who you're traveling with. Like, think before you pack your sandwich, dude.
Yeah.
Like, ham, turkey, they're fine.
Yes,
Like,
that's
go for
fine.
it.
That's not
You know
gonna be
what I mean?
stinky.
Hummus, totally fine. Like,
Exactly.
you can take a hummus sandwich.
Doesn't really
with
even
you.
have a smell.
Right? Curry, tuna. No.
Human shit.
Don't eat it.
Don't take that on a plane. Plane etiquette. Like,
Yeah, no, it just is.
plane etiquette is a very important concept. Jim Jeffries had a whole bit about it, about like the appropriate distribution of the armrests and the leg space. And all that, which I think about that every single time I fly because it is so accurate. But another part of that is like, don't bring stinky shit on the plane.
Yeah, for
also,
sure.
bring headphones, and if you don't bring headphones, you don't get to listen to stuff.
Yeah,
that's
dude.
That's the rules.
For sure. Yeah. I've been in those situations where people are just like loudly listening to stuff on their phones, like in waiting rooms and stuff like that.
Oh my God.
It's like, dude, like, I get it, but you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't do that.
Yeah. Or if, and it's also as if like we don't have in 2019 an abundance of accessibility options, which is a great thing. I'm glad we're embracing that for like the hearing impaired. Like, most shit has subtitles now. Like, just watch it with subtitles.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's not as fun to watch Hell's Kitchen without it because you don't actually get to hear Gordon Ramsay screaming, but it's like, if you don't have headphones,
That's
like,
also such an intrusive thing to watch loudly in public.
absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Arguably one of the worst things to watch unless you're watching Orgasm Wars, in which case, turn that shit up, let me hear it.
Right.
Also, how did you get your hands on it?
Exactly.
Find it. Yeah.
Like, you're looking over their shoulders like, is that
Orgasm Wars?
Are you
Where'd
watching?
you find Orgasm Wars? Did you download this?
Is this a Blu-ray?
Is that an iPhone? Can you airdrop that to me? Is it safe? Like, it has to be downloaded, right? Or are you connected to the Wi-Fi? Wow, you're getting that quality streaming? Wow.
Yeah, I was at the hospital
Okay.
waiting in the waiting room.
Was this which situation was that?
I got bit by a spider.
Okay. When was
And
this?
It was bad. This was a few years ago.
Okay.
I got bit by a spider, and it was this like, I was ignoring it for a few days, but it was like this really black dot at the center that had like these red streaks coming out of it. And I was finally like,
metal as hell, first of all.
I don't really want to, I don't want to lose my leg. It's not worth it.
You don't want that.
So, it's like, if this is potentially going to get worse, I want to go ahead and go to the emergency room. So I'm going to the emergency room. And while I was waiting, I was just sitting next to this couple that was just really watching Orange is the New Black really loud. Which would be incredibly disrespectful if I wasn't caught up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no, if you hadn't already seen the season, and it's just like, dude, come on. No, I'm trying to
could you not please?
could you, do you have to watch that right now?
Yeah.
Like, do you literally have to do that right now? Like, first of all, that's porn. Second of all,
Yeah. So, no, I was just like, wow, okay. And me and my friend were just sitting there like,
dude, is there anything worse than friends spoiling porn that you have yet to watch?
is there anything worse? I hate it whenever that happens, dude. So you're watching it and it's about to...
Dude, we are earning the 18 plus rating this episode.
Yeah, and your friend walks up behind, he's about to finish. And you're like, dude!
It's like, come on, man.
You know?
Damn it. And then you go soft and it's like,
right.
Shit. You just wipe the lubricant off your hand on your thigh. It's like, fuck.
Jesus Christ.
Again, Mom, if you're still listening, I don't know why. There's a lot of other things you could be doing. Your son's not that interesting, and he's actually quite gross, and you don't need to be here right now. And
go home.
Go ahead, just take the headphones off. God forbid you're listening to this at work. I would really hate.
That's what I know. My mom at least heard some of the episode because she texted me, "Podcast was funny."
Okay, cool, perfect. We didn't get too raunchy in the first episode, though.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, and also we record these a little bit out, so like at this point, we just released the first episode a few days ago. Yeah.
But and I know my dad also listened to that, and I really wonder like how they're listening to it. Like, are they listening to it in headphones? Like, are they just like watching the YouTube video? This is totally uninteresting content, but
I do think it's interesting though. Like people talking about just their families and how their families relate to the content that they make. Like, I always find that interesting.
No, I mean, it really is. It's definitely been something that's, and we kind of went into this in the last episode too, but it is an interesting thing because it's like, at the end of the day, I mean, I obviously want them to like what we do.
Yeah, but on the other
it's
hand, I
not
don't want them to
content
actually know about it.
Right.
I don't really want
but
them
also
to know
it's
what it is.
not content made for them. Like
No,
our
not at all.
people our parents' age, our parents are not the target audience here.
Not even
So
close.
it's like,
no, I mean, it's just...
of course, you know, we're going to be talking about stuff like porn and smoking weed and shit like that because
Yeah.
guess what? We're 24, 25-year-olds
Yeah, like what do
that
you
are
expect?
speaking to people of our age
Yeah,
range. Like that's
of
who we're
similar
talking
mindsets.
to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because those are the only people that would be interested in anything that we have to
Yeah,
say.
in this type of content.
Yeah.
Well, and it's also like this breed of online content, like whether you're talking about podcasts or even like we were talking about like YouTubers and stuff
Yeah.
yesterday, just it's all about personalities.
Yeah.
And so people will gravitate toward personalities that they recognize
Right.
or even that they just appreciate. And so it's not even as much about like the literal subject matter as it is like, oh, like I recognize this type of person, or like this, like I like the way this person
Right.
thinks. So even if it's not like, even if they're not talking about anything particularly interesting, it's like I
just like that
enjoy,
guy.
Yeah, I enjoy their perspective.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. That's why I listen to a lot of the podcasts that I do listen to. Is like I like that guy.
Yeah, for
you know
sure.
what I mean?
Yeah, and like I think that getting a look into people's family lives does help inform who that person is and
For
how
sure.
they became how they currently are. And so yeah, I think like discussions around that
Yeah.
like can be really, even if it's as vague as like mom's not gonna like this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I think that at every level of performing, that is part of your life. If you are
yeah,
still
like-
in touch with and like
Yeah, almost
you
every
know,
stand-up
have a
comedian talks about their
relationship
parents.
with your family. Right,
Because
absolutely.
everybody has parents. Like, now, whether or not they have, like, an ongoing relationship with their
Yeah,
parents, of course,
exactly.
it's a different thing, varies from person to person, but, like, you couldn't physically exist if you didn't have parents of some kind, so inherently you do have some kind of relationship, whether it is a really distant one or a tumultuous one, or a really healthy,
Either way, it's a
fantastic one.
talking
Yeah,
point.
Exactly.
No matter what
Exactly.
your relationship is,
Yeah.
it's still a talking point.
Because it's just this, it's kind of
that
this...
everybody has a relationship.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's just kind of this like cosmic thing that we all kind of have to deal with, in that it's
Daddy
like,
issues.
Yeah, well, and it's just like we're all going through our own lives.
Yeah.
And we all have our own experiences that a lot of times can feel kind of insular and just
sure.
like this is just like you almost kind of get tunnel vision in a way, like you're so focused in your own shit that that's just where your head is. But taking the step back and realizing how you got that way, and also how all of that affects the people around you, and how the people around you affect, I mean, just your mood on a day-to-day basis, but also like your decision-making processes and like why you feel certain ways about certain activities.
Oh, yeah,
like,
absolutely.
stems from just the people that you're around. And like, I mean, the thing you like to say is that you're, what is it, like you're an amalgam of the 5 people you spend the most time with?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. For sure. And yeah, you got to be careful with that. I mean, there have definitely been, and you've known like some people that I spent a lot of time with in the past. Like I definitely felt like the toxicity of those relationships.
Yeah.
And then once I finally took a look at it and said like,
Yeah,
okay,
and
this
removed
has
yourself
to
from
be
it.
separated.
Yeah.
And then replaced those people with other people that build me up. I
Yeah.
feel so much better.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
absolutely.
really, truly important. And you don't realize how much people can take away from you until you get rid of that and replace it with something positive.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really important. Huge advocate of that shit right now to anybody that's listening. Cut out the toxic people and have a positive mindset. It
Yeah.
is huge and
Yeah.
has made a huge difference in my life over the last 6 weeks.
Yeah,
So,
and it's
do it.
really easy to say, like, it's an easy thing to say, like, cut out the toxic people, because that's almost in the same ballpark as just as a phrase as like, just fuck all the haters, man. Like, it has that same.
Yeah.
that's at least.
And
how
I know it's not
always-
as easy as that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying
Yeah,
to say
yeah.
that me doing that wasn't easy. I'm not saying like it was really
Oh,
hard
it's a fucking
every
different-
time
it's a
to
process.
do it. It was
Yeah, it's a
really
whole
hard.
thing, yeah.
But the return on investment that you get
Oh, yeah,
from
is so worth
replacing toxic people with positive people is so worth it.
It
You
is
just have
worth
to
the
make
time and
that.
effort, yeah.
You got to jump in the pool, man. You just got to like rip off the Band-Aid and fix a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you just got to fix a problem.
Yeah. But I was saying, so it's like that phrase, like cutting out toxic people, being akin to like fuck all the haters, is really just more a comment on the phrase itself, and why a lot of times when I see people online being like, take the time to cut out toxic people, you don't need that in your life, whatever. Like, it just kind of always felt like that bullshit, like vague, like
Yeah.
ankle deep advice of like, oh, but it's really not. Like, it actually is a worthwhile process for self-care and for self-improvement,
Yeah.
because again, like, who you are is so dependent on who is in your immediate environment and who is influencing you, and being able to take a critical look at that and move forward and determine like, okay, these people are helping me, these people are not. And making that choice is a really important one. And a lot of times that is family, and that can really suck. Like that can be a really difficult thing.
No, and it's important to recognize that. And I think that that's something that kind of as like in 2019 is more prevalent.
We're less afraid to talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Like toxic family members can't be anything. Luckily, like I don't really have that experience with anybody in my family.
Neither do
It's
I.
really
Thankfully.
wonderful. Like I love everybody in my family, and but I know for sure that there are people that I know personally that have toxic family members that can really like that. And that's really hard. You know what I mean? Because you've been taught to love these people, and just because you love them doesn't mean that they need to be an involved part of your life.
Yeah, and also doesn't mean that you have to respect them so much that you give them a significant portion of your time.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Now you have to, it obviously is important to look out for yourself before anybody else. Ultimately, it really is. Like, you have to make sure that you're happy and healthy first.
Yeah, because you are what you put out into the world.
Yeah.
And so like if you aren't in a good place, like you're not necessarily going to be putting out good shit. Like for me, like for a long time, like I was, and I've gotten away from doing this, but I often indulged in very like self-deprecating humor. But I've tried to get away from that sort of thing because I realized that it's just not really productive, and it's not actually, it doesn't make me feel any better. And even though someone might be like, oh, mood, right? So relatable, but it's like, it's not helping them either. And it's not really helping me. And it's also like, that's not even the best way to express myself honestly.
No.
Like, because of like people like Louis C.K., it kind of became a shtick on its own. And obviously with Louis, it was often very insincere. So like, just because you're saying, oh, I hate this about myself, like doesn't necessarily mean you're being genuine. And also just because you are like
recognizing something doesn't mean that you're doing anything about it.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's just, I think Bo Burnham talked about this at one point, but like whenever he was doing stand up and he was like, oh, buy my merch, I'm a fucking sellout. It's like, that didn't make him not a sellout.
Yeah.
Like that didn't,
for sure.
or at the very least didn't make him feel like less of a sellout by pointing it out. If anything, it just made it worse because he was capitalizing on that type of meta humor. And so it's not actually doing anything to address the real issue. Yeah,
absolutely. I think that there can be like a time and place for self-deprecating humor. I don't think that it's completely, unfunny or
Yeah, again, time and place, but like...
but I do think that a lot of people use it kind of as like a defense mechanism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or just honestly, like I honestly, at this point in 2019, I would put self-deprecating humor on the same tier as like a rape joke, in that more often than not, a rape joke is it's just kind of cheap. Like it's just gonna get a cheap reaction out of it's just trying to get people to gasp and clutch their pearls.
Right.
Even though it's not really funny, it's just like a fart joke, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's just this thing that's guaranteed to get a reaction.
Farts are always funny. So.
Well, yeah. And I was gonna say, farts, not exactly a 1-to-1 comparison because farts are hilarious, but but the idea still stands, is that it's like making a self-deprecating joke is just like, oh, hey, he's making fun of himself.
Right.
And it's just like, it's not necessarily even funny, but it is at this point pandering to the lowest common denominator.
I was gonna say, it's almost that you like force a laugh out of somebody because it's like, oh yeah, like this person is making a joke at their own expense. So I have to laugh at it or else it's not a joke.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like, obviously I'm not saying don't have enough self-awareness to laugh at yourself. Yeah, because you have to do that. You'll kill yourself if you don't have the ability to laugh at yourself. Yeah. But it's a different thing entirely to just make the joke like, I'm a garbage human being, and it's just like, you should try to improve.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to say, is the point that I made earlier, is that if you're recognizing these things but not doing anything to change it, then it's just sad. It's not a joke. You know what I mean?
No,
like,
it's really not.
The more you keep saying it, people are just going to look at you and be like, okay, like, you've been making these same comments about yourself as long as I've known you. Yeah. Like, are we not doing anything? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, are you not looking at that? You know what I mean? Whenever you say it all the time, are you not looking at that?
Yeah, absolutely. You know? Yeah. And it was especially harmful for me because like watching like so many, I mean, again, like the one that comes to mind is like Louis C.K., like being a really big fan of his for a long time. I was kind of tricked into thinking that was sincerity,
Right.
and like that was the best way to express yourself,
Right.
And so like coming from someone that has like pretty
You
much
were also
dealt with
very young whenever that was.
I was really
you know what
young
I mean?
when I
And
was
so you were
seeing
very,
it, so it
yeah.
was a very influential thing for me. But also, I mean, like just through therapy, I've realized that like I've pretty much been dealing with moderate depression since I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Like for pretty much for as long as I can remember. And so hearing somebody say like, I fucking hate myself, it's like, oh, I feel that way too.
Right.
So this must be how you express that.
Right.
And as it turns out, it's like, no, that was a really unhealthy thing. And that put me in a lot of really shitty situations for
sure.
a long time. And then also finding out later that like Louis' whole MO is that he just has a fucking addiction to being shamed.
Right.
But that's a whole different conversation. But yeah.
No, and also, I mean, it is interesting because, I mean, we did spend our time around a lot of people that felt that same way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just us being freaking kind of edgy, like teenagers into sad music, into, you know, just being like in that circle and consuming a lot of media surrounding that kind of thing. And also all of us probably having a certain level of an anxiety or depression disorder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At a young age, we were all surrounded by people that were all like, yeah, like I don't really like myself all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
and then
sure.
whenever there are people like Louis C.K. that we're all consuming and all seeing that and being like, oh no, it's like normal to hate yourself. Everybody's saying that, you know what I mean? It's like,
for
oh,
sure.
you don't
It
like
just-
yourself? I also don't really like myself, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he also doesn't really like himself.
Yeah.
It's like none of us really like
Let's
ourselves.
not change anything.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And it's like but whenever you surround yourself with people like that, and not that, I mean, we were all very good friends. I don't think that we were like bringing each other down. We were definitely like
we weren't, but
trying to figure, you know, we were like
but
definitely
it's just we were
doing the
not-
opposite,
we were
letting each other
not-
know that like, no, you are like, I love you though. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
you're
for
my
sure,
good
but
friend
we-
and I don't think you're as bad as you think you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, we were teenagers that were given nothing in the way of healthy coping mechanisms. And I think a lot of the depression stemmed from the school that we went to.
yeah.
Like so much of that, like that type of like oppressive and really regressive environment was so unhealthy for us, especially like us being like alt kids.
Yeah.
Like it was a terrible, terrible environment for us. And like we were constantly told to just like suppress anything that wasn't this wealthy white Christian private school's idea of normal.
Yeah. It was, that was definitely part of it. You definitely couldn't be expressive about opinions,
about
ideas,
anything.
thoughts.
Yeah.
Like
You couldn't
and
even-
you're just told that you were wrong.
I was going to
you
say,
know what I mean?
you were
If
told you were
yeah.
wrong for having certain haircuts.
Yeah.
Like something
Yeah.
as fucking benign as, oh, your hair is slightly over your ears. Like
Yeah.
they would fucking, like they would make you feel like garbage about it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just, oh, you have to get a haircut or you have to go home or whatever. Like, no, like the fucking, like Mr. Housley would like fucking scream at you over it.
Yeah.
Like it was a horrible fucking environment. No, like like the reason I left that school was because I got a pair of khaki corduroy pants.
Yeah.
And I wore them to school. And the Spanish teacher, I don't even remember her name, but she was super chill. She was just like, hey, I'm not like positive those are dress code. Can you like go to the office real quick just to make sure they're fine? I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like I didn't even really didn't care. Went to the office and I was just like, hey, just want to make sure these pants are fine. Like I'm sure it's nothing. And then she's like, no, they're not. I'm like, okay, they definitely are though. Like I'm positive that these are fine. And then she like claimed that I was like fucking arguing with her and shit, which I mean, I guess technically on the most basic level I was,
Yeah.
but like I was not intense at all. Like it was
Yeah.
like 8 a.m. I wasn't really even awake.
Yeah.
So I was just like half asleep being like, nah, these are like definitely fine. Like I know these are okay. And then like fucking Mr. Housley like started screaming at me and sent me home. And then I checked the rule book online and it literally said they were fine. He made shit up just to scream at me and send me home. And so I was like,
Yeah.
all right, fuck this place, I'm out. Like there's
For
no
sure.
fucking way I'm doing this
For
another
sure.
year.
For sure. Yeah. No, I mean, it was definitely, like you said, an oppressive environment. And yeah, I mean, oh man, there's a lot to be said there.
Oh yeah. And this is not me advocating for corduroy pants, by the way. I don't think you need to be rocking the cords right now. I've seen a few pairs that look good, and those weren't even a terrible pair because they were like skinny, so like they weren't that bad.
Yeah,
'cause they were
I
like,
always wanted those during that time.
yeah, for sure. Well, because this was like 2009, and I was a skate kid, and I got them from CCS. If anybody
wow.
remembers CCS, yeah, I got them from there, and so they were just like skate pants. And I was like,
well, that's
sick.
what was
But-
funny was those were the pants that were acceptable for people like us to wear at that school.
No,
Like,
exactly.
everybody
and that was why I bought them.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
okay, these are like skate pants that I can wear to school.
Yeah,
and then
no,
it's just
everybody
like, no,
was
you
doing that,
can't.
especially
And it's
like
just
in the upper grades, like the kids that we were hanging out with were
Yeah.
definitely wearing those. You know what I mean? And that was why I wanted them too.
Yeah.
Because I was like, yeah, these are skinny khakis, basically. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
it's like, okay, yeah, get away with expressing myself in whatever way I possibly can.
in the
you know
most
what I mean?
mild fucking way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's just.
but I pushed the boundaries a little bit more than that too.
Oh,
though,
no,
'cause,
I mean, we
I was
all did a
fucking
little bit.
bleaching my hair blonde and wearing purple shoes to school, and both of those things were like,
Yeah.
nah. But I got away with the bleached hair thing because it was technically a natural hair color.
Yeah. Well, and also it was bleached. It's like, what do you expect me to do? Like,
Yeah, yeah. So, but
Oh yeah, your Marshall Mathers face.
dude, yeah. Been thinking about going back to that shit, dude.
Going back to LCA.
Yeah, just like start
Really
high
just-
school over, dude.
I want to do high school again.
I'm just gonna do the Billy Madison thing.
back to school.
That's
Adam's-
also a legacy reference.
Is it?
Yeah, Bible teacher. I don't want to talk about any of these people's names, but
That's fine. Oh, I mean, I'm okay. We didn't say his first name,
yeah, no.
and I was like,
For
he's a piece
sure.
of shit. Fuck him. No.
Yeah.
Who were you talking about though? Was it?
The 10th grade Bible, or even 8th grade Bible.
Are you talking about the dude that beat his wife?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm
Yeah.
gonna say that guy's name. Yeah. Fuck Mr. Glenn.
Yeah. No, that dude actually. So no, there's a big story there too. It's like, okay, so I mean, not that it was cool, but I would sag my pants like during that time, like it was a thing, and I still do to this day.
I was gonna
It's
say.
just
Well, and
that's-
I was gonna say it was 2009.
yeah.
Like,
I mean,
yeah.
that's just
It
I
was
don't know.
it was in the like at the peak of the bling era. Like,
It was a lot worse back then. I
Yeah.
would like have my whole ass hanging out. But
Yeah.
like in this situation, he would always get on to me about it.
Yeah.
In this situation in particular, I had my hands full of backpacks and musical instruments and
Yeah,
things.
you had, like, so much
And I was
shit,
walking
and so-
into the school and my pants were actually falling off of me. And
yeah,
I, like
for
it
sure.
was not
It
like
wasn't like a style thing.
no,
it was like
they were actually
literally, I'm
falling off
like,
of
I'm
me, and I
struggling.
needed to get inside to set my stuff
Yeah,
down.
like I'm struggling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that I could make sure that my pants did not fall off
Yeah,
of my
exactly,
body
yeah.
at the school.
And so you're just like, oh fuck.
But
yeah.
like he was coming in behind me, and he like was already yelling at me to put my stuff down, which I was already doing because I needed to pull my pants up. And he like pulled me to the side and like grabbed me by my pants and lifted me up,
Yeah,
pulled my
I
pants up
remember
and
this.
put me against the wall and was like, I know you can afford to buy a new pair of pants. If I see you wearing these pants again, I'm gonna go to Walmart and buy you a pair of khakis, and you're gonna wear those every single day. And I was like, yo,
what a fucking
fuck
sociopath.
this shit,
Yeah.
dude. Like that's some insane.
And this is a guy.
stuff.
He still works there, right?
As far as I know,
Yeah. Normal guy, normal
Yeah.
school, everything's
it's just
fine.
weird. Yeah, it's just that's just like I don't know. Obviously, there was something being taken out on me because this
Oh,
cannot
yeah,
have
no,
been
this-
about my fucking pants
yeah,
by
that-
any means.
fucking unbelievable fucking garbage.
So,
like,
but that was
fuck
I don't
that
know.
dude. Well, no, and
What's
he's like,
weird is that I didn't even react to it at the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It was
'cause
just
you're-
like, oh, this is a teacher, and that's like fine. You know what I mean? I'm
no,
the one that's
thing.
wrong.
We were
Like I had
conditioned
my
to think that was normal.
Yeah.
Like we were conditioned.
And
to
then
think,
looking back on
yeah.
that now is like, yo, you could not do that in 2019.
No,
Like,
you can't do that ever.
well, you shouldn't have
Yeah.
ever done it. But now it's like, I didn't even tell my parents.
Yeah. No,
know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I
this
didn't
might
tell-
be the first time they're hearing that story.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's
That's
fucked.
just
No, like
weird
that,
stuff.
that whole environment. Yeah, again, like that it taught
And
us
like,
that behavior
okay,
was
not
normal.
everybody was terrible all the time.
of
Like,
course. No,
and that's I don't want to like.
No, I
you
have
know.
nothing but good things to say about. I actually quoted him earlier. Mr. Santinelli.
Oh yeah.
He was amazing. No,
Yeah, I
I
love
have
that dude.
nothing but good things to say
Yeah,
about that dude.
he left. So
I'm good for him.
Yeah.
honestly, good for him for getting out. He was
no,
great,
there were definitely I had really good teachers, and there were people that I
Yeah.
really liked there. There truly were, and there were people that were not oppressive, and there were people that did have their own views that I didn't agree with, but presented it in ways that were not argumentative, or you know what I mean. There
Yeah.
were truly caring people that did work there.
Yeah, no,
but
absolutely.
like ultimately, like the people the louder voices,
Yeah.
were causing a lot of harm.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I
No,
mean-
yeah, and that dude, and, well, and especially because, and looking back on it now, so like last episode we talked about like the right wing debate guys,
Yeah.
and that was just Mr. Glenn.
yeah.
Like his whole thing was that he wanted to debate you about fucking Calvinism.
Right.
Which
that's actually what I was
Jesus
going to bring
Christ,
up next,
yeah.
because that was something that I know for sure had like a massive effect on like the psyche of a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like
No,
in our
okay.
grade or in
Yeah,
my
yeah,
grade
yeah.
and the grade above me.
Yeah. Okay. So for anyone that doesn't know okay, just on a base level, what Calvinism is. So Calvinism is this idea in Christianity, and this is a pretty split thing in Christianity. Like it's like if you talk to a Christian or just someone that knows about theology,
more or less Christianity is split into either Calvinists or Arminianists.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
like the two
sides.
sides.
Yeah, so it's a pretty split thing. So, but the idea of Calvinism is that before the creation of the universe, God had an ultimate plan, and in that plan, he predetermined who would eventually go to heaven and who would eventually go to hell, meaning that he made certain people just to send them to hell.
Yeah.
That is what Calvinism is. It's a horrible, fucked up idea, but a lot of Christians really, really stand by it.
And it's a huge point. It's a huge point of contention.
Yes,
because
absolutely.
The opposite side, the Arminian side, says God does not have complete control, and you can do works to get into heaven.
Yeah, so the other side of it is basically saying that every conceivable outcome is still God's plan. Like you can't do anything that wouldn't eventually become God's plan. And so that works because God is still the one in control, and also you have free will. Because like that's kind of or at least my understanding of that idea. Yeah. Whereas like the Calvinism is just like you don't actually have control over yourself.
Yeah, it's for certain people there's nothing that you can do.
Yeah, exactly.
You
inherently
are
don't have
predestined to go to hell.
Yeah, and so because you don't actually have the illusion of free will, but not literal free will.
And that's where I think really a lot of the stress came from.
No, because they drilled that, like, again, like fucking Mr. Glenn, Mr. Debate.
Preach Calvinism,
he was drilling that shit into our heads and insisting that it was
to sit there and say like there's a percentage of people in this classroom that are going to hell and there's nothing to be done about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Is like, wow. Like, okay, it's probably me.
Yeah, no,
you know what I mean?
That's the thing. Like, that's what you always think because because in that environment, you're constantly being told you're not good enough.
Right.
Or that you're constantly fucking up.
Or you have these things, during that time, like,
shit.
Going through puberty and having, like, all of these different, like, feelings and all these crazy things that you're...
Like, you're hearing that at the worst time in your life.
Yeah, you're going, well, I can't stop myself from sinning, so it's probably me. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Especially when you're being told that, like, doing natural human things like masturbating is one of the worst sins.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, I can't stop myself from doing this because I'm horny all the fucking time.
Right.
Looks like I'm going to hell. And
exactly.
And so it's like, it was just, the whole school was full of just like 13, 14-year-olds that were going through their own insane existential nightmares every single day.
Right. And it's like, you're sitting there listening to the Bible teacher telling you about how there's a definite chance that you're going to hell because it's been predetermined by God and you can't get your boner down.
Yeah, exactly. No, literally while he's talking about it. Like, literally. Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Dude. Yeah, and that's such a huge chunk of why, one, a lot of the church can be really harmful, but especially like those types of environments were so like I'm still dealing with a lot of the shit that was instilled in me in those days. Like neither of us are really Christians anymore, but like, I mean, obviously I can't really speak for you, but I'm certainly not.
I got a lot to say on spirituality and stuff like that. That's
true.
A totally different,
different thing.
Yeah.
But like, that whole environment was just way more harm than good. Way more.
Yeah. It's really something that I've had to look at over the last couple of years and go, so the reason why you feel this way is because of these things that have been drilled into you that you don't even believe in anymore.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You don't even believe it anymore and you're still dealing with consequences.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, no, dude, you've just got to not feel that way. Like, you've just got to let go of it. And there's not like an easy way to do it. But every time I start having, because I will have these like kind of, or it's actually been a long time since it's happened, but I will occasionally have these like existential crisis moments where like they can be like followed by panic attacks.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's more or less connected to the idea of like, I'm disappointing God pretty much. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not good enough. I'm a bad person. Like, I'm disappointing God. And I used to think it came from a place of like, I'm disappointing my family. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but that's not it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
really,
I figured out quickly that that's not the problem.
Yeah,
that I'm not a disappointment to my family because I've talked to them and they're not lying to me.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's the idea that you're being held to a standard that you couldn't possibly reach.
Exactly. And it's like, so I know that it's not my immediate family, but why am I still afraid that I'm a disappointment? Who am I disappointing? And it's like, okay, myself first. Cool.
Yeah.
That's easy to take care of.
Yeah.
What are you disappointed in? Make a change.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? And then whenever you do that and you still have this existential dread, you know what I mean? Then you have to look at, okay, well, then what is it? Okay, well, it's probably these teachings that that had drilled into my brain since I was in 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That is still haunting me. And it's like, finally, like more recently, I've been able to like let go of those anxieties. Not that there isn't still a form.
Yeah, I mean,
like,
it's never going to completely go away.
Yeah.
But it's like you've gotten good at managing it, which I
Right,
mean, that's
absolutely.
that's cognitive therapy, baby.
Yeah. So no, I mean it's very dangerous, and I do believe that there should be a conversation surrounding religion, and I don't think that Christianity is necessarily a bad religion. I think it depends on who you are and the way that you handle it.
Yeah, of course. No, again, like I had mostly positive, like, so even though I have mostly negative things to say about my time in the private Christian school, I do have mostly positive things to say about my time in the church. Again,
Right.
I don't go to church anymore. I don't consider myself to be a Christian. If I had to put a label on it, I'd say I'm an agnostic, but like I do still have mostly fond memories of my time in the church.
And I have a lot of family that consider
Yeah.
themselves to be Christians.
Yeah,
and
like my mom and stepdad,
my mom and stepdad, my siblings and everything, they all do, and I don't hold that against them at
No,
all.
not at all.
Because they don't treat it like a weapon. You know what I mean? They don't
And, like, for them, it brings them like a semblance of peace, and it lets them like feel good about their place in the universe. And I'm
Right.
not trying to take that away from anybody.
No, not at all.
But
Absolutely.
what I am saying is that, like, if you are a member of any kind of organization, whether it be like a church or just like a school of belief of any kind, and it's making you feel as stressed out and horrible and
Yes,
anxious
100%.
as we were,
Yeah.
like, it's just
It's
not
not
worth
good
it.
for you.
It's
Yeah.
it's not worth it. It's not good for you. And it's just, I mean, you can take good practices out of anything. There's a podcast that we both enjoy called Brome, in which they talk about, they do a really great episode on astrology, and they put it really well. And it's just like, look, you don't need to take astrology super duper seriously. Like,
No.
it doesn't need to be this thing that you like spend so much time thinking about and like try to base your entire life over. But it's just like, no, if you do your star chart and like figure out your all your different signs and all of that shit,
can be informational.
I was about to say, it can be informational, and also all the advice you're going to get is harmless. Like,
Right.
it's just like, hey, watch out for this type of behavior, or it's just like, hey, you might find yourself feeling like this. Try to keep an eye on it. Like, it's all really harmless shit.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if that's what you're taking away from it, then there's nothing wrong with fucking indulging in a little astrology now and again.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
it's not gonna hurt you. And the same thing, I think the same thing can be applied to the Bible. Like, there are a lot of teachings in the Bible that are objectively good things. Like, hey, don't murder anyone. Like,
Yeah.
good idea. I won't.
I don't think you need the Bible to tell you that, but yes, it's a good.
Hopefully you don't.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't need the Bible to tell
Yeah.
you that. But yeah, little basic things like that. And if what you're taking away from the Bible is just hatred and bigotry, and you're choosing to spin it
That's
that
the
way,
thing.
and you're choosing to weaponize it,
Yeah.
that's when you need to evaluate your priorities, and
Yeah.
you need to evaluate really just your own personal biases and your own systems of
I was going to
belief
say,
in
I think that
general, but-
comes first from a place inside, and you get validation through that. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I
absolutely.
hate gay people, and the Bible says that it's okay to hate gay people, so
Exactly.
I'm justified, basically.
Yeah, for sure. And there's
If
also
that's how you're taking it, then that's
and obviously, like, and
you
I-
inside yourself,
and
not
I think,
necessarily.
Yeah, and one of the other things too was like, this kind of ties into another thing we talked about last episode. We were just talking about criticism and how being able to parse out valuable criticism versus invaluable criticism is really important. I think the same thing can be said about like systems of belief. It is fine to find flaws in, like, it's okay
yes.
to look at the Bible and be like, some of this sucks.
Right.
Like, some of this really fucking sucks.
And that was one of the most frustrating things with my experience with the church, was that I was one of the few people that went to my church in the youth group anyway that had the same type of Christian education that I did. And I was, and still am, I'm a very curious person, and I'm very curious about the nature of the universe. And even then what was exposed to me was Christianity. So I was really interested in knowing the workings of Christianity and what the core beliefs were and everything like that. So whenever I went to church, I would ask questions. And I remember being at like a youth group sermon thing.
yeah,
and
like a huddle group.
No, it was like at the time we didn't have like groups yet. It was like a Wednesday night thing that was, you know what I mean? That was like everybody, you know what I
It
mean?
was probably called something like Elevate.
Yeah,
Like,
it surely was. Yeah, it surely was. So music played, little sermon, whatever, break up into groups, come back like for final sermon or whatever.
Yeah.
And then like kind of question answer type like scenario, right? And I remember asking some questions, and the pastor telling me in that
threw the
moment.
Bible at you. It was like, fuck you.
In that moment was like, ask me about this like after,
Yeah.
basically. And then afterwards was like, don't ask those kinds of questions in front of everybody. And I was like,
Do you remember what the
"Whoa,
questions were?"
dude. Yeah, it was there. It was actually tied into predestination.
Okay,
I can't
gotcha.
remember specifically, but I was like, more or less like,
Yo, what the fuck's up with Calvinism? It's
basically,
like,
no, that's definitely what it was. Because I was like, I think I even may have said something to the extent of, so, like, if you believe that God has complete and total control,
Yeah.
then you also believe that he is determined that some of the people in this room are going to hell and there's nothing they can do about it.
yeah.
Which is probably
Okay, I was gonna say
maybe a little bit
like,
more
I was gonna
aggressive
say
than I
about
should have said in front of a bunch of people.
About 5% in his defense. That is a super intense question to ask in front of a youth group. On the other hand,
But
though,
it's real, though. Like, that is a real question, and people want to know that.
It's
you know?
real. Yeah, it's real. People want to know that, and it's his job to deal with it.
Yes, exactly.
Like, and so
exactly.
him being like, don't ask that in front of people because it's too hard for me. I'm not good at this. Is like,
Yeah, it's like
fuck
because you don't have an answer. But that's the
Confident
thing
piece
is
of
that
shit.
that was the most frustrating thing to me is that you're not allowed to ask those questions.
Yeah, it's
And
considered
there should be a
taboo to poke holes in-
conversation around this
Yeah.
thing. Even if just because I was asking that question didn't mean that I was going to turn my faith based on the answer.
Yeah, it was.
You know what I
like
mean?
you
This
were-
is just a
you were
conversation.
straight- yeah, no, you're asking a base level question about the mechanics of
Exactly.
the church. Yeah,
And so
that's,
that was
and also that's
one
what
of the things
like,
that got me real frustrated.
that's
early
what
on.
theology is asking those questions.
And there's
like,
no harm in that. That's how
Yeah.
we got to a lot of answers that we have. Is
Yeah.
through having these conversations. Old people, they're
Yeah.
dead now, having these conversations and not being afraid of what the answers were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or manipulating the answers so that they worked
yes,
in the favor.
yeah.
But anyway,
actually, fucking kids is fine. It's not a huge deal.
Right,
God
yeah.
actually really likes it.
yeah, God loves it. It's just, he's watching.
Yeah, no, it's his favorite thing. It's his favorite channel.
Yeah. So
That's his orgasm voice. All right. Should we
back
cut?
in.
We'll keep this in. It doesn't matter.
We'll just-
It's-
yeah.
We're obviously being ironic here. That was a scathing indictment of the Catholic Church
Yeah.
in their historic.
hopefully that was obvious.
Yeah. It was about the pedophilia and how they've covered it for centuries. But anyways,
Yeah. So no, I mean it is definitely now, I feel like I'm really in tune with like my level of spirituality now.
Yeah.
And I'm just still a really curious person.
Yeah,
And that's
absolutely.
all it is. You know what I mean? Like I don't believe truly that there's any way to know anything with 100% certainty.
Yeah.
And even in Christianity, there's a reason why they have a thing called faith because you can't
Exactly.
necessarily confirm things with 100%
yes.
certainty. And
And faith is often blind.
right. So I don't pretend to, and I think it's silly to pretend that you know something with
Yeah.
100% certainty.
No, nobody
but
knows
it's
anything for
always
sure.
great to
Yeah.
ask these questions and want to learn more. And I think whenever you open yourself up to what the universe has, I'm on my spiritual
I
pedestal
was gonna
right now.
say, Mr.
But I
Mr. Pete Holmes, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah, I think that if you open yourself up to what like the universe is presenting to you, you will see very quickly that you are just as receptive as it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, absolutely, and it's or rather like your perception of the universe, like it's
Yeah.
all like you can be just as open as you think it is.
Yeah.
like and it doesn't really matter. Yeah, just be open to new ideas and
Exactly, that's- yeah,
unless those new ideas are like actually racism is smart, then don't not those ideas,
Yeah.
but different ones.
Yeah, good ones, positive ones that make your life a better place.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, ones that make it easier for you to exist,
Yeah.
not ones that make it easier for you to not grow and evolve, like not ones that will keep you in the same space you are. But like anything that's telling you actually you're doing great, you don't need to change is maybe not the best
Yeah.
thing to keep. Like obviously it depends, like context is everything. But like again, it's like if you have personal biases in front, if you feel strong ways about feminism or women and it's like everyone's too sensitive, like that's maybe when you can be like, all right, you maybe have some biases to confront, maybe you can stand to learn some stuff and grow.
Maybe
and
you
listen
should go to therapy.
Yeah, maybe you should fucking go to therapy, you weird man child. If you're really mad about Captain Marvel and you insist on telling people that actually she's a villain because she was mean to somebody
Probably
in the
some
movie,
therapy that needs to be done.
Oh yeah, not some.
Yeah. Even if you are in a really secure place, positive place, and
Yeah.
you think you have your shit under control, it doesn't mean that you can't benefit from having a sounding board. You know what I
No,
mean?
absolutely. Like
even
having
if you're-
somebody checking in with you and also just giving you practices on how to deal with stress. Like fucking
Yeah.
last night, use an example from my own life. Last night, I was up late because I was super fucking stressed. After this recording, we're going to a barbecue. So I was super fucking stressed about this barbecue because I felt like the last time I was there, I like super embarrassed myself. And it was basic, and I know, and yeah, you're shaking your head because I obviously didn't. Because I didn't fucking do anything. And so it took me filling out a thought record and just like typing out like on my phone, just like, okay, here's what I'm thinking. It's like, okay, here's the situation. Here's what I'm thinking. Here's how I'm feeling. And then recognizing, okay, when I'm thinking this, I'm distorting my thoughts in these ways. So it's like, this is disqualifying the positive. This is magnifying. This is all these different things. And then writing myself the rational response of like, okay, I think I tend to do a lot is jump to conclusions and like basically act like the world's worst mind reader. And be like, oh, they think this about me. And it's just like, how could you possibly know that? Like, how could you possibly know what these people think?
Oh, no, for sure.
Yeah. And so it's just taking that second to be like, okay, so it's always good to get like the 10,000 foot view, or like my therapist often says, like, think about like this situation.
This is free therapy for you.
Yes,
guys.
this is free therapy. Yeah, exactly. But he's just like, think about how this situation is going to affect you 6 months down the line. Like in 6 months, how will this situation actually have affected you? And so thinking about it, the last time I was over at these people's house was 8 months ago. And if I really embarrassed myself that fucking badly, it clearly didn't matter that much because the thing that happened was they invited me back over.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Yeah. So, yeah. So it was just like taking that time to like really figure out why I was so anxious and why I was so stressed out, like made all the difference. And so, and that just came from, and again, like, it's not as if like I'll never be anxious or depressed ever again, because I certainly will, but it's just knowing how to deal with those thoughts when they come.
No, and I think it's really good to just be able to recognize that. Because the first time that you told me about this and the ways that cognitive dissonance can represent itself in your mind, or present itself in your mind, whenever you were kind of going through these different distortions, I was like, yeah, I mean, I've done that. I've done that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And it's like, oh, wow, like recognizing, no, that's your brain fucking with you.
No, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Well, no, so it's like your brain is like a machine. And so whenever you start feeling bad, it's not this really ambiguous cosmic thing that's like, oh, my brain's all fucked up and nothing can help me. It's like, no, it's distorting in a very specific way. So it has a specific solution.
Right.
Like it's sort of like if you are like fixing an air conditioning unit or something. And it's just like, all right, it's not working. You take it open. And it's just like, oh, it's the fan. Like the fan's not going. It's like, okay, so it's not receiving power. So you go and figure out what that, it's like, okay, here's the specific problem. So that has a specific solution. I have to get it to receive power again. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like it's
and it's crazy to think that that's the way our brains work. But obviously applying those solutions is working for you. Yeah. And it's not, you're not the first person it's worked for.
No, and that's the other thing too.
There's a reason why this is a teaching.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, no, because like one of the main books that has helped a lot, and like where a lot of these principles come from, is from a guy named Dr. David Burns. The book is called Feeling Good. It looks like a really shitty self-help book. Like the cover is terrible. It looks like trash, but it actually is legitimate therapy, or like it has like legitimate cognitive therapy practices. It's not bullshit, despite how it fucking looks. But no, like this fucking book was written in the 80s.
Yeah,
like,
right.
And the
so
practices haven't changed.
New.
So it's like, okay, like people have been dealing with these specific problems since people have had thoughts. Yeah. So it's like, you're not
in the 80s.
Yeah, exactly. That was when it started. No one had any thoughts before 1982.
You can tell. Have you seen what people looked like in the 70s?
Yeah,
there was no thought into that. 80s, lots of thought.
So many thoughts.
Shoulder pads.
The first
that was a thought.
I was gonna say, have you seen A New Hope? Not a single thought in that movie. It's just people bumping into each other.
But then Empire.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. It's
take care of yourselves, people.
Yeah,
you deserve it.
It's really important. And I guess my thought process was that whenever I had those kinds of like cognitive dissonance, my first reaction was just like, don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're caring too much.
Yeah,
and that's the problem.
Is
you're caring too much about what these people think, or you're caring too much about.
For sure.
And you know what I mean? But that's not the problem. It's not that you're caring too much.
That might be a facet of the problem, because maybe you are making a mountain out of a molehill and magnifying the importance of it, which is something I do all the time.
But it's not the solution to every one of those problems.
Yeah, and also the way to deal with that problem is not apathy.
Right. Yeah.
It's a totally different,
like absolutely.
It's basically just taking the power away from it and understanding. It's like, no, it's not wrong to think about stuff and care about things.
Yeah.
It's like, but this particular situation doesn't require this extreme amount of thought and stress.
Yeah, it doesn't do you any good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
Anything we want to,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's a really great place to end off, and we're just about at the 2-hour mark.
Cool.
But thank you guys so much for listening. This has been episode 4. It's been super fun. Hope you enjoy it. Yeah. I was getting to it. Scott was giving me a little, like, he was just mouthing the word Patreon and pointing to me with both hands. Like, I got it. No, yeah. So individually, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram. My name on both is at Cola's Nugatory. Scott, yours
I'm
is
at Robert Scottford, RobertScottFord.
On the YouTube version, it's on screen.
Yeah, there you go.
And then, but your Instagram is different, right?
Yeah, my Instagram is hella_woke.
Which is a great, I'm shocked you got that.
I know, right?
Like, it's really great. Yeah, but we got that. Also, we have a Patreon, as cheap as $1 a month. However much you want to contribute, if you find value in the podcast.
If it's $1 million, then it's $1 million.
Exactly, yeah. But if you find value in the podcast, in the essays, in the music, in any of the stuff that we do, Patreon gets you early access to video uploads. That includes the podcast, and also access to the private Discord. It's pretty fun. There's a lot of memes and music and all kinds of fun stuff. Cool people in there.
And I would say, if we start getting traction on the Patreon, we'll probably start giving more.
We very well may expand it and add different tiers and stuff. But for right now, just
or
keep
at least
it nice
more
and simple.
content.
Or at least more content on
that's
there. Yeah.
Even more worth your time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But so for right now, just super simple.
Yeah.
Bare minimum's $1 a month, but you can give however much you think is fair. But yeah, thank you guys so much. And we'll see you next time. That outro music should be going by now, probably.
I don't know. I probably fucked it up.
It doesn't fucking matter. Holy shit. Tyler, have you been here the whole time?